The first year of Konoha. In the forest outside the village. One sword-style tiger hunting. I saw a flash of knife light, and there was the faint sound of a tiger roaring, and a big tree fell in response. The huge trunk hit the ground, splashing thick dust. When the smoke dissipated, a black-haired boy could be seen slowly putting the knife back into its sheath. Well, the moves given by the system are quite powerful, and should be comparable to B-level ninjutsu. The boy called out to the system while holding a lollipop in his mouth. Heavens and Worlds Mission System Host. Danzo Shimura. Chakra. Wind, 0.4 calories. Strength, Ninja Bloodline. None. Points. 38,250 skills. 1 sword-style tiger hunting. Beginner. 1 sword-style yanwi. Skilled. Substitution. Beginner. Clone. Beginner. Transformation. Beginner. Wind Escape Great Breakthrough. Proficient. Wind Escape Wind Cut. Elite. Vacuum Series Ninjutsu, under creation. Items. Indestructible Wooden Knife. Jintama. Steel Kunai 10. Binglang Pill 10. Detonating Charm 30. Task. Grab a kid's candy. Reward. 1,000 points, completed. Swing the knife 1,000 times a day. Reward. 100 points, not completed. Hey, Danzo, you come outside the village too. Danzo turned around and smiled at the visitor. He was a boy with an immature face but a hint of determination. It's Hiruzen. I'm here to train outside the village and hunt some prey. The person who came was Sarutobi Hiruzen when he was a teenager. Why did he look at me with admiration in his eyes? Could it be that he thought my sweat was from training? Just snatched a child's lollipop and was chased 8 blocks by his parents. No wonder you don't sweat. Looking at Danzo's sweat-soaked training clothes, Hiruzen Sarutobi thought to himself. No wonder my father asked me to pay more attention to him, saying that I am not as good as him, but I am no worse than him at all. Today is the time to prove it. My name is Shimura Danzo, at least now I am called Shimura Danzo, and I have been in this world for 5 years. Although I was busy with work in my previous life, I still knew about the 3 famous migrant workers comics. When I learned that I was one of Konoha F4, I actually refused, but time travel is obviously a one-way ticket. Fortunately, there is a golden finger to soothe my wounded heart, but this golden finger is also strange. So in order to punch Uchiha Madara and kick the ninja world's filial son in the future, he can only train crazily, make trouble. Hirazaru Sarutobi suddenly bowed to him. Danzo, please fight me, please. Ah. Danzo wanted to refuse. The encounter between Yi and General, mission description. You will regret it. I am Hokage. Trigger task. Agree to Sarutobi Hiruzen's request, and use Konoha Taijutsu's ultimate mystery, Millennium Kill in battle. Reward. Proficiency in the 3-body technique, 10,000 points. The Millennium Kill has been released, and the proficiency will be automatically upgraded to the master level. The troublemaking system really lives up to its name, but I like it. We are a family that built a village together. How can we fight a duel? I don't accept it. When he heard it, he became anxious immediately. Danzo, I have 1,000 taels here, and I will hire you to fight with me as an employer. That's it, then well, I accept your employment, and it will end with whoever admits defeat first. Danzo shrugged, very helpless, slowly pulling out the wooden sword. Hirazaru Sarutobi pulled out kunai. Hirazaru Sarutobi looked at Danzo's wooden sword. Are you sure you want to fight me with this piece of wood? It's not ordinary. He froze for a moment, then said, stop looking down on people. In an instant, he came up with the painless body in his hand. Instant. Clang. There was a collision sound coming from the field. The wooden knife and kunai were intertwined, and the two were at loggerheads. Separation. Hirazaru Sarutobi separated 5 clones and rushed towards Danzo from different directions. However, Danzo slashed at one of them with a wooden knife, and ignored the other. Nichi. Baga. Why is your perception so strong? He hastily used the instant body technique to jump away, throwing kunai at Danzo in his hand. The body is still in the air, but the speed in the hands is not slow. Flying fingers, ninjutsu formed quickly. Wind escape breakthrough. Danzo slapped kunai away with the wooden knife, put the knife back into its sheath, and began to prepare ninjutsu. Wind escape breakthrough. By the time Danzo released the ninjutsu, Hiruza Sarutobi's ninjutsu had come before him. The two ninjutsu collided quickly, and Danzo's Kazeten ninjutsu was overwhelming the ninjutsu of Sarutobi Hiruzen. It seems that Sarutobi Hiruzen's ninjutsu level should be classified as entry level according to the system. It's not over yet. Fire escape flame bullet. Sarutobi Hiruzen's ninjutsu relied on the power of Feng Dun, and the wind assisted the fire, quickly engulfing his ninjutsu. Substitution as the flames dissipated, all that was left in place was a charred piece of wood. You're pretty good at ninjutsu, it seems like you're going to get serious about it. Danzo stood on the tree and pulled out the wooden knife, and said seriously. Hirazaru Sarutobi looked at Danzo without saying a word, his eyes fixed on Danzo. Danzo bent down and made a gesture of drawing a knife. One shot flow swallow return earth dungeon. The art of stealth in the heart. A knife light rushed towards him from top to bottom. Sarutobi Hiruzen dived into the ground in an instant, and Danzo's knife seemed to have only cut a piece of air, if there was no blood on the knife surface. He drilled out of the ground not far away, and a wound appeared on his left hand. Blood flowed from the wound, dripping down his arm onto the ground. Are you still coming? Of course, I don't give up so easily. I usually don't use this trick easily. Are you sure you don't admit defeat? Stop talking nonsense, come on. Danzo put the wooden knife back into the scabbard, and raised his hands in front of him. This is the seal of the tiger. Damn it, could it be that he has mastered B-level ninjutsu? This is impossible. The ultimate mystery of Konoha body technique. How did I not hear it being said? But you can tell from the name that this technique is very unusual. 1000. Year. Kill. The figure in front of Hirazaru Sarutobi suddenly disappeared. This speed. How is it possible? Suddenly, cold sweat broke out behind him. Behind. But Sarutobi Hiruzen had no time to turn around. Danzo's figure appeared behind him, sending Tiger Seal forward. What? While feeling the pain, he also felt a bit of joy, as if the gate of heaven was opening to him. Countless birds in the woods startled, and countless fallen leaves fell. Hirazaru Sarutobi lay on the ground in the posture of falling geese on flat sand, his body trembling uncontrollably, and the picture seemed to be black and white for a moment. Danzo wiped his finger on Hiruzen Sarutobi on the ground expressionlessly, and asked coldly. Do you want to admit defeat? I accept. Hirazaru Sarutobi forced his pale face to tremble and said. Complete the task, the reward has been issued. Danzo closed his eyes and accepted the ninjutsu perception from the system in his mind. If the loading time of the three-body technique was 3 seconds before, it is now 2 seconds. What if it is upgraded to the elite level or even the master level? Could it be instant ninjutsu? It's a big profit, the system. If there are such tasks in the future, please do more. Special tasks depend on the triggering conditions. The system has no right to interfere, but the host can add more witness scenes. Oh, that's it. Then there is still a lot of wool to be gathered in the day cut. After thinking about it, he looked at Hiruzen Sarutobi who was on the ground. Yo, dear lamb, no, does Sun Zan need my help? Unnecessary. Hirazaru Sarutobi forced himself to stand up, limped and stood in front of Danzo, and took out the banknote from his bosom. I would like to bet and admit defeat, this is 1000 taels. Okay, I accept. Sarutobi Hiruza turned and left, then ran home crying, still limping. Oh Gasan. I didn't expect ninja to have such an image in the future. I am so disappointed. Danzo shook his head in disappointment. I'm careless. If I knew it earlier, I would have played it lightly. I thought I could squeeze it a few more times. Nichizane-kun, you must be strong, don't give up just because of a small failure. Danzo yelled at Sarutobi Hiruzen's back in the distance. Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to be tripped, and then staggered forward at a faster speed. No wonder my father said that I couldn't compare to him, so it's shameless to use such dirty tricks. Danzo grabbed the prey and returned to the Shimura family's clan assigned by Konoha. Danzang's home is on the outskirts of the clan area. This is the residence of many civilians in the clan. Danzang's parents have been assigned here since the death of his parents. When necessary, the civilians can be used as a barrier to block the enemy's attack. I am back. No one responded. Danzo's original parents died early in a conflict with Uchiha. This may be why Danzo will become Konoha no Darkness in the future and hate Uchiha so much. However, Danzo in this life traveled through with all the memories of the previous world, which naturally included the famous Hokage. The death of his parents was also avenged by others. As for the price, it is to show his talent. Fortunately, Konoha has been established now, otherwise he would always worry about someone assassinating him. A strong man who has not grown up is not a strong man. Danzo just put the wooden knife on the weapon rack. Danzo, are you home? Coming. Danzo opened the door. What I saw was a tall, middle-aged man with a firm face and a scar on his face. Patriarch. Why are you here? Haha. Tomorrow is the day when the major families officially join Konoha. I am here to give you a sample gift. I hope you like it. Thank you, Patriarch. Danzo took the gift box, but did not open it immediately. Patriarch, please come in and have a cup of tea. No, no, Chief Shimura waved his hand, and then asked seemingly unintentionally. I heard that you beat up that Sarutobi boy? Yes, Patriarch, but it's not a beating, but a discussion. Chief Shimura's eyelids twitched, and he thought, beating that Sarutobi boy like that is also called sparring. The head of the Sarutobi clan has come to complain, and it is the 5-attribute genius that old guy Sasuke always mentioned in front of me, but that's it. This also shows that the genius of my Shimura family is better than that of the Sarutobi family, and Shimura Danzo has a cage-level talent. That's it. Then when you're sparring, be gentle. Of course, as long as you don't get disabled or something, you'll be fine. Danzo thought. Sure enough, a good talent means that you can do whatever you want. Should I change your place for you? This room seems a bit worn out. No need, Patriarch, after all, there is the aura of my parents here. I see. Well, a child can be taught. If there is nothing wrong, I will leave first. If you have any difficulties, remember to tell the clan. The clan will always be your strongest shield. Goodbye, Uncle Patriarch. Standing at the door and watching the Patriarch Shimura leave, Danzo returned home when he was out of sight, and opened the gift box. Inside was a dark black kimono with a picture of a crane rushing to the sky embroidered with gold thread. It was very valuable at first glance. There was also a scroll next to the clothes. Shimura's Class B and C Wind Dunjutsu Encyclopedia. The gift is not light, but the affection is heavy. Just for today's gift, I will not treat the Shimura family as dispensable like the Shimura Danzo in the anime. Danzo carefully placed the gift on the table, took out the prey he had hunted before, skillfully skinned and removed the blood, and prepared to cook. While waiting, Danzo squinted his eyes, sorting out today's achievements and the road ahead. The future must not be too messy, so as not to destroy the timeline, and maintain the timeline while ensuring your own benefits. Thinking about it, the meat is already roasted. Danzo took a shower after finishing the meal hastily. System. I want to draw a lottery. Ding, the lucky draw module has started. Lottery draw. 1000 times, everything is possible. 10 consecutive draws have guaranteed bottom blue props. The lottery page is a large disc, of which the gray plate occupies 60.00%, the green plate occupies 20.00%, the blue plate occupies 15.00%, the purple plate occupies %, and the gold plate occupies only a pitiful %. Points. 48,250, system. Let's draw 10 consecutive draws. The wheel began to spin, faster and faster. Kurenai 2, detonating talisman 2, Binglang pill 2, what kind of wood 1, 0.1 Cal chakra, Hulk's panties 1, ordinary Chunan's combat experience 1. Danzo's mouth twitched as he looked at the objects in front of him. Pick up that piece of wood and look at it carefully. The surface is smooth and straight, and the wind makes a sound when you wave it, but this has a P effect. Also, why is Hulk's underwear blue? 8 grays, 1 green and 2 blues. That's all. Points. Blood loss. System. Come again. Detonation talisman 4, Kurenai 1, black training clothes 2, fertile soil 1, sombra core mask 1, charm fruit 1. 8 grays, 1 blue and 1 purple. It's finally a good thing, but what is the combat power of a single black shadow ninja? Is there a limit on the number of people? What is the charm fruit? Ding. Charm fruit can only increase the charm of the host, with a percentage system. The host's current score is 71, black shadow core. Ninja strength is only ninja, up to 500 people, but every 10 people can be upgraded, and not higher than the host's strength. This shadow core can definitely fight a small battle if it is used well. It is indeed a silver item. and the charm fruit feels like a chicken rib. Forget it. Eat it. Danzo's appearance was silently improved a little. Danzo looked at the remaining points. 28,250. I can't help but spend these points, and half of them are lost in an instant. Do it again. Detonation Talisman 5. Black Training Clothes 1. Binglang Pill 1. 0.1 Cal Chakra. Ordinary Chunin's Practice Experience 1. Pirate World Physique. Woohoo is purple. But why is it 7 grays again? My face is so dark. System. Extract it for me. The physique under the clothes is being silently transformed by the system. The physique inside the pirate is suitable for armed domineering. Otherwise, don't wait until it is used, and it can be synthesized to drain Danzo. After all, people's physiques cannot be generalized. About half an hour later, Danzo felt that his body had not changed much, and then slowly stood up. After a little movement of his body, there was a crackling sound, feeling the fighting and training experience of the ninja in his mind. Originally, his weakness was actual combat experience, and now this experience is enough for the time being. Danzo rubbed his chin with his fingers. His current body should be at the Zhongnan level, but his chakra volume is at the Junin level. Chakra is composed of physical energy and spiritual energy. Now that his body energy is sufficient, what he considers is mental energy. Mental energy? Illusion. Uchiha should be the strongest illusionist in the village now. Should he learn from them? That's not okay. My future master doesn't like Uchiha. I have to find time to see if the Kurama clan or the Yuhi clan are here, and learning from them shouldn't cause anything. Now I have good physical skills, good swordsmanship, and ninjutsu attainments are also superior to those of my peers, and now I want to practice illusion. How does it feel familiar? Correct. Uncle Snake. Oh, no, according to seniority he has to call me uncle. It's decided. From now on I will accept ninjutsu with knives, taijutsu strong. Anyway, at least now the ninja is not a threat to me, and the general ninja can also win the battle. If there is no change in the future, then the ninja world war should be after the death of the first Hokage. If the time has not changed, it is enough for me to protect myself. But before becoming a movie class, Go's still has to go on going. The next day. The central area of Konoha was uncharacteristically bustling with people today. Everything around is brand new, full of vitality everywhere, and people have smiles on their faces. But who would have thought that in just 60 years, Konoha village would change from a vigorous young man to an old patient? In this life, when I come, I will never allow Konoha F4 to destroy Konoha. What? I am one of them. That's fine. When I came to the venue, the first thing I met was the welcome from the Konoha official, that is, Hokage, and then they dispersed. Now Konoha's bureaucratic atmosphere has not yet prevailed, so everything is kept simple. Danzo, here, here. A 5 or 6-year-old child suddenly yelled at Danzo. It's you, Qianshoyang. What can I do for you? Didn't you notice that the children in the venue were gone? We all went to the training ground to play. Isao Senju ran out of the venue with Danzo and ran straight to the training ground. The training ground is clearly divided into 2 groups. One is well-dressed and healthy-looking, and the other is worn out but clean and disheveled, and the well-dressed children are divided into several small groups. Boss Danzo, you are here. As soon as Danzo came, the children in shabby clothes on the field seemed to have found their backbone, and ran to Danzo spontaneously, and there were some children in fine clothes. He also said hello to people one by one. Hey, everyone is here now. How about my proposal just now? A Uchiha person said to everyone. What proposal? Danzo asked puzzled. It's like this, Boss Danzo. Just now someone from Uchiha proposed that he wants to be the boss of all the children in the village like Hokage, and then we quarreled. Is that so? Count me in. Danzo used his tree climbing skills to climb up a nearby big tree, amplified his voice with chakra, attracted everyone's attention, and quietly won the initiative. Everyone. Why do you want to be the boss? Someone immediately answered under the tree. Be the boss. Do whatever you want. Being the boss, I can make Yurihong like me. When I become the boss, my parents will not dare to beat me. Danzo's mouth twitched slightly when he heard the various answers from under the tree. Being the boss is actually more of a responsibility than doing whatever you want, and it's not about making others like you. As for keeping your parents from beating you, there is still some hope. All in all, being the boss is to serve everyone, not for these messy things. As soon as the words were finished, the high emotions of most people fell instantly. That's it, it's boring. I can't even take care of myself, let alone someone else. It's better to sleep. Danzo waited for everyone under the tree to discuss about the same. So how many people signed up? I. And I. Then there are 8 people in total, namely Shimura Danzo, Sarutobi Hirazane, Zanju Kaharu, Mitoman N, Akamichi Torikaze, Uchiha Kagami, Uchiha Godai, Senju Yu. What is the content of the competition? Of course it's actual combat. As the boss, how can you have no strength? Uchiha Godai replied immediately. I think it should be a vote, and the decision is based on public opinion. Hirazaru Sarutobi expressed his disagreement. The two immediately quarreled. Danzo watched the situation intensify and immediately stopped it. Well, let's divide it into 2 competitions, the first for actual combat and the second for voting. Agree. I agree. Danzo used the instant body technique to find 4 vines and fought 2 by 2. He held a bundle of vines in his hand, revealing 8 ports, and those who got the same vine formed a group. The first group, Uchiha Mirror vs Mitoman Yan. The second group, Uchiha Godaichi vs Akamichi Takakaze. The third group, Hiruza Sarutobi vs Isamu Senju. The fourth group, Shimura Danzo vs Genju Shaochan. Seal of opposites. The battle begins. Genju Shaochan took the lead and quickly approached Danzo. Jim Kawujun she flicked the kunai, and the 4 kunai quickly came to Danzo with the sound of breaking through the air. Danzo turned his head slightly to avoid kunai in front of him. Chance. 2 of the kunai suddenly turned their heads and pointed directly at the back of Danzo. Is this your plan? Danzo avoids kunai with a speed far faster than that of Zhuanshu Shaochan, and pulls out the wooden knife. One sword-style tiger hunting. Before Shaochan could react, she saw a vicious tiger rushing towards her with a bloody storm, and she was so frightened that she fell to the ground. When she came back to her senses, Danzo had already withdrawn the knife, and as the knife sheathed, a few strands of hair fell down. Victory or defeat, so fast. Genju Shaochan looked at Danzo in disbelief, knowing that his strength is not only a genius, but also one of the best among his peers. He did not expect to be defeated so easily. Danzo walked slowly towards Shaochan, who was going to sleep, and stretched out his hand to pull her up. Thank you. Turning to sleep, Shaochan lowered her head. Her face that had been pale because of fear just now was full of rosy, and she returned to the crowd covering her face after speaking. Danzo looked at the other 3 battlefields. Uchiha Mirror ended the battle first, followed by Sarutobi Hiruzen, and finally Akamichi Torikaze. Danzo waited until they were ready before starting to announce the second scene. Ballot system. Each of the 195 people present has a ballot, and they vote by secret ballot. Wait until everyone has filled out and turned in their ballots. Yusa Senju, who had just lost, counted the votes and announced the result. The one with the most votes is Shimura Danzo. Deserved. Yes, I don't accept anyone except Danzo boss. Hirazaru Sarutobi raised his hand. Wait a minute, I'm not convinced. I demand the release of vote data. Qian Shouyang looked at the ballot and kindly warned, I advise you not to. Since you don't announce it, I'll do it myself. Hirazaru Sarutobi ran to the ballot box. Sarutobi cut 1 vote. Seeing that the top vote was his own, he was extremely proud, and looked at Danzo with disdainful eyes. 1 vote for Shimura Danzo, 2 votes for Shimura Danzo, 1 vote for Uchiha Kagami, 1 vote for Akamichi Tekaze, 3 votes for Shimura Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned paler as he counted. Sarutobi cut 13 votes. 29 votes for the Autumn Road. Uchiha Mirror 58 votes. Shimura Danzo 95 votes. Hirazaru Sarutobi sat on the ground with a pale face. One must know that there were 10 members of the Sarutobi clan present, that is to say, apart from his own clansmen's votes, other people's votes were only 3. In an instant, he felt that the world was not worth it, as if everyone's eyes were laughing at him. But in fact, it turns out that there are not yet 100 votes. There are so many people who did not vote for Boss Tuanzo. I knew Danzo boss would definitely win. Danzo looked at Hiruzen Sarutobi, who was extremely depressed at this time. Good guy. If it's Uchiha on the top, then he should have opened his eyes, but the last 2 missions are more or less related to Sarutobi Hiruzen, so we can't shut up the sheep. He slowly walked to Sarutobi Hiruzen and pulled Sarutobi Hiruzen up. The more you focus on paying attention to others, the less you need to reflect on yourself. Strengthening yourself is the best way to defeat others. Hirazaru Sarutobi patted Danzo's hand away, ran towards the house, and suddenly turned back halfway. Thank you. Several members of the Sarutobi family also went back with him. System. Open the panel. Trouble system host. Danzo Shimura. Chakra. Wind, 0.6 calories. Strength, Chunin bloodline. None. Points. 28,250 skills. 1 sword style tiger hunting. Elite. 1 sword style swallow return. Skilled. Substitution. Beginner clone. Beginner transformation. Beginner. Wind escape great breakthrough. Proficient. Wind escape wind cut. Elite. Vacuum series. Under creation. Items. Indestructible wooden knife. Gintama. Some steel kunai. Some military food pills. Some detonating charms. Black shadow mask. Hulk's underwear. Task. Uchiha Mirror looked at Danzo's frighteningly high number of votes and didn't say a word. I didn't expect Danzo to be so popular. It seems that he is also a peace-loving and village-loving person. A child of the Uchiha family asked, puzzled by Danzo's frighteningly high number of votes. Why does Danzo-sama have such a high number of votes? The commoner kid answered his question chirping. Because the boss of Danzo often helps us. Yes, not only help us fill our stomachs, but also teach us how to extract chakra. He also taught us ninjutsu. The family children present were surprised that Danzo Shimura taught the chakra extraction method and ninjutsu to the common people without authorization. On the spot, a child from the Shimura family glared at Danzo and pointed at Danzo with his finger. Shimura Danzo, you are so courageous to leak the family ninjutsu without authorization. Danzo raised his eyelids and looked at the child glaring at him. It turned out to be the grandson of the chief elder of the Shimura family. He was very excited at this moment. His grandfather always compared him with Danzing, and now he can finally take revenge. Did I say something wrong? The kid who said ninjutsu was trembling. Danzo walked up to the child and patted his head. No, you did nothing wrong. Shimura Danzo, are you listening to me? Danzo didn't look at him, but silently released his aura that far surpassed him. The grandson of the elder was overwhelmed by the momentum and took 2 steps back. Before he could say anything, Danzo spoke first. First, since they are members of the same village now, ninjutsu other than family secrets should be the common property of the village. Secondly, the ninjutsu I teach is nothing more than my own ninjutsu and sanshinjutsu. You created your own ninjutsu. How is it possible? It's useless to talk too much. Mizuki Yuma will show you the ninjutsu I taught you. A child with a cold temperament looked at Danzo with fanatical eyes and responded loudly. Yes, boss Danzo. Wind escape wind cut. The sharp ninjutsu instantly split the huge tree in front of him in half. The power of this ninjutsu is sea level. You actually created your own sea level ninjutsu. Danzo-sama is so talented. Sometimes the gap between people is greater than the gap between humans and pigs. Yuma is so powerful, boss Danzo is so handsome. Is there anything else? Okay, really good. A white-haired man came out of the darkness while applauding. The children present bowed and greeted the visitors one after another. Hello, Master Phagian. Hello. The rumored unsmiling legendary ninja actually laughed. Senshu Phagian stood next to Danzo and said to everyone, Danzo Shimura is right. People in the same village should help each other. Abandon the old concept of family as the leader and establish a new idea of village as the leader. Then he turned his head and looked at Danzo with eager eyes. Shimura Danzo, are you interested in becoming my disciple? Danzo was overjoyed, but he also felt that part of the timeline should be changed by his own butterfly. Originally, according to the historical trajectory, I should not have become a disciple of Tomona, but only a member of the Hokage Guard. If this is the case, then... Teacher, please be respected by your disciples. I directly decided on the status, so as not to go back on my word. Phagian smiled, and looked at the 2 civilian children who had behaved well just now. In the future, Konoha will gradually eliminate the family form, so let me first lay the foundation for civilian ninjas. Ha ha ha, Maito Man Yan, Zhuanzi Shaochen, would you like to be my disciple? Maito Man Yan and Zhuanju Shaochen looked at each other, and they both saw the surprise in their eyes. The kid from Sarutobi's family just now is not bad. I don't know where he is now, that's all, we'll talk about it later. Mirror's performance is also very good, but it's a pity that he is Uchiha. Qianshu Feijian shook his head, facing the 3 disciples he had just accepted. Gather at Konoha No. 03 training ground in 7 days, and I will personally test your respective strengths. Konoha F3/4 said in unison. Is teacher. There was a flash between the doors, and it was gone in an instant. Boss Danzo, I didn't expect Master Fujian to accept you as a disciple. This is a treatment that even I don't have. Qian Shouyang said excitedly. If it's the boss of Danzing, it's fine. How can those 2 commoners, Hida, be accepted as disciples by Master Fujian? It's just bad luck. The 2 small family ninjas discussed in a low voice, aggrieved. Such content appears more or less in everyone's mind. Everyone, although I am your boss, it doesn't mean that I will impose my ideas on you. Therefore, I decided to set up a committee for self-management. Hearing Danzo's words, the faces of all the family children eased down. You must know that Danzo gave his ninjutsu to others just now. If the elders of their respective families know that he has taught ninjutsu without authorization, they must break their legs. He saw no objection. Okay, I'll announce the candidates for the committee. Uchiha Kagami, Hanada Tenichi, Senju Isao, Akamichi Torikaze, Sarutobi Hirazane, Minato Yan, Zenju Kaharu, Yumi Keita, Inazuka Ren. In addition, I am the chairman of the committee. Do you have any objections? No, he can tolerate even the opponent just now. This is youth. He deserves to be the man I plan to follow for the rest of my life. A child with a watermelon head looked at Danzo with fiery eyes. All the forces on the scene have been taken into consideration. It seems that the strategy is quite good, the boy with the single ponytail thought while yawning. Very well. Let's end the meeting. Danzo is very satisfied with their reaction. After all, it is the first year of Konoha, and the ninjas have just joined, and the thoughts of the same village are not so deep-rooted, so they can only slowly figure it out. After all, no one wants to have another boss on his head, unless you have unrivaled power. Just like Qianshujujian, open a Buddha on the top, and then let you have 2 hands. Because of their long-term training, those commoner children can call each other Danzing boss. Otherwise, who will bird you? The most urgent task now is to improve their own strength. The current strength is still not enough, almost even the Konoha technician, Kakashi can't compare. Kakashi became a genin at the age of 5, and a chunin at the age of 6. The one who cheated on me was just a little better than him. Outrageous. Confused. Snapped. Elder Shimura looked at his grandson angrily, his chest rising and falling. The elder's grandson covered the slap marks on his face and looked at his grandfather in disbelief. Grandpa, why did you hit me? It is obvious that Danzo leaked ninjutsu to those untouchables. The elder looked at his grandson disappointedly. I ask you, why did we join Konoha? Because we want to ensure the continuation of the family. The elder's grandson replied in a low voice. Right or wrong? Sun Tzu looked at the elder in puzzlement. The great elder didn't look at him and started talking on his own. Because times have changed, if you don't join the village, the family will disappear sooner or later. This is the right part. The wrong part is that even if you join the village, the family will gradually disappear. After hearing this, the grandson was even more confused. Are you curious whether you join the village or not, the family will disappear? The great elder saw his grandson's stupid look, and suddenly became angry. HMPH, I think I've been smart all my life. How could I have such a stupid offspring like you? Joining a village, although the family will disappear, the family can still be regarded as a continuation. I can be sure that there will be no family in Konoha in the future. Only the existence of the village as a unit. What? Grandpa, are you saying that the Shimura family will disappear, and even Senju and Uchiha will disappear? Of course. This is a historical necessity. You must remember that our Shimura family is no match for Senju, Uchiha, so the establishment of the village is a good thing for a family like ours. So, we should actively assist in the establishment of the village? It seems that you are not stupid enough. The great elder looked at his grandson and softened his tone. Others may not be clear, but you must be clear. Just because your father is the patriarch and your grandfather is the great elder, You must be the future patriarch. If you don't know, then the clan will definitely give the position of patriarch to Danzing. The screen turns. At this time, Danzo was rushing towards Hokage Rock at full speed. Compared with the 4 statues in the original animation, the current Hokage Rock is still bare. Since there is no Yan Yan, then come by yourself. Mission. Witness the birth of the first generation of Yan Yan, and shout out, I'm going to be the man of Hokage. Task reward. 10,000 points, random character inheritance. Now I go directly to see Zujian and I think I will be stopped, so. Target. Hokage Rock. Now there is no news of the start of construction at Huiying, and it probably hasn't been thought of yet. The biggest function of Huiying Rock is to improve the cohesion of villagers to the village. Then, let your dear apprentice, Shimura Danzo, use practical actions to inspire the master. It's all for the village. Danzo used the instant body technique to speed up his speed, and soon traveled through most of the village and came to Hokage Rock. He stood on the Hokage Rock, scratching his head helplessly. System. How do I carve? I don't have Earth Chakra. System testing. Inspection completed. Earth Attribute Chakra has been issued. Earth Escape Earth Flow Wall, Elite. Earth Attribute Chakra has been released. Earth Dungeon Earth Flow Wall, Elite. The total amount of chakra has increased by 100 times, temporary. Danzo felt the sudden extra chakra in his body. The difference from Wind Attribute Chakra is that you can obviously feel a heavy feeling. Wind Attribute Chakra is sharp and light. It has been automatically covered. Others cannot detect the change of Hokage Rock. Please complete it as soon as possible. Thanks, system. Fortunately, there is a system to help cover it up, otherwise I would be caught halfway through the carving. Without further ado, let's start right away. Earth Escape, the art of Earth Flow Wall. Wind Escape, the art of wind cutting. Danzo used the 2 ninjutsu alternately, slowly carving. Look at the rocky head that soon becomes silhouetted. What is this? As long as you have your hands, the host is amazing. After 1 day it will be ready soon, host come on. 2 days later. Immediately, host don't give up. 3 days later. Looking at the eyes in front of me, the eyes are raised and lowered, the nose is slanted, and the mouth becomes a statue of the crooked Dragon King. Danzo was lost in thought. Destroy it, I'm tired. System, can I get engravings in the lottery? Okay. Right now, the rewards are almost moldy. Fast. 10 consecutive draws. 9 gray and 1 blue. 9 gray and 1 blue. I have never seen a host with such bad luck. Come to the last 10 draws. Detonation Talisman 4, Kunai 3, 0.1 Ka Chakra, Navy 6 Style Shaving, Engraving, Master Level. 7 grays, 1 green, 1 blue and 1 purple. Good guy, finally. But the most urgent task now is to engrave his own statue on it. Pick up prizes. Master engraving starts. With the help of carving skills, Danzo's beautiful version of the statue was quickly formed. After half a day, Danzo stood under Hokage Rock, looking at his masterpiece. First of all, a handsome statue above looked at the distance with firm eyes. There is also a line of writing under the statue. Konoha Mirai Hokage, Shimura Danzo joins in. Sure enough, my craftsmanship is pretty good, at least as handsome as this deity. System, remove the cover. Congratulations to the host for completing the task. The cover has been revoked, and the reward has been issued. Although rewards are a good thing, why do I hear a sense of relief from your tone? Ding. The host must have misheard. How could this system look down on its own host? Danzo. Look, what is that? A middle-aged villager looked at the statue that suddenly appeared on the bare rock with a look of surprise. Passerby opened his eyes wide. It seems to be a statue of a person. There is still a line of writing under the statue. Passerby B found the extra thing. Konoha Mirai Hokage, Shimura Danzo joins in. It's the new disciple that Master Fajian took in. Passerby suddenly thought of something and said. The faces of the surrounding villagers softened slightly. It turns out that he is the disciple of Tobima-sama, no wonder he wants to become Hokage. Uchiha moved to the clan. Uchiha Madara stood by the window by the village, looking at the statue engraved by Danzo. Master Madara, I found out that Shimura Danzo was engraved by a new disciple of Senshu Kaijin. HMPH, the position of Hokage in the future will definitely belong to me, Uchiha Madara, Senshu Kaima. Upon hearing Senju Tamanama's name, Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed. What Madara-sama said is very true. Go down. Uchiha Madara stood in a room with no one around, stroking the portraits of the family with his hands. Brother, I will definitely avenge you. Naruto office. Ha ha ha. What an interesting little guy. Senshu Zujian couldn't help laughing happily when he heard his subordinate's report. Master Hokage, aren't you angry? The ninja who reported looked at Hokage suspiciously. Why are you angry? I'll only be angry if no one in the village wants to be Hokage. Since you are a disciple of Phaegian, then call Phaegian over. Think between the pillars. Yes, Hokage-sama. The ninja immediately disappeared in place. Senju Bashima stood in front of the window of the Hokage building. The seedlings are thriving and we old guys can't stand in their way. Knock knock. Please come in. Brother, I'm sorry. After Tomona came into Hokage's office, he felt a headache about what happened to the newly accepted apprentice. This matter is not too big, after all, it is just a statue. Small is not small, because this is the face of the village. However, I am his teacher after all, so I have the obligation to wipe his ass for his mistakes. Wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong. Children, it's normal. I used to compete with Bambi on who peed farther, and I won. Hearing Hashirama's words, Tobima was covered with black lines. Why do you still feel proud of you? Go and ask him to come over, after all, he needs to come over to solve this matter. When Fei Jian heard it, he replied, I'll catch him right away. On Konoha Street, people are discussing the Hokage on the rocky cliff. Fortunately, I was witty and used the transformation technique. Danzo walked on the street and listened to the discussions of the villagers, and decided in his heart that he would not go out for the next month. Qianshu Feijian ran to the house on the street because he couldn't find him in Tuanzang's house. Well, that person's chakra is a little familiar. Tobima stopped and looked at Danzo carefully. This bastard even used the transformation technique, no wonder I couldn't find him. Shimura Danzo. Danzo subconsciously looked towards the source of the sound. It's really you. Seeing that he had seen through the door, he could only bite the bullet and greet him. This wave is definitely the scene of social death. Hello teacher. Pung. As the white smoke dissipated, Danzo's true face appeared in everyone's eyes. So he is Shimura Danzo. This little face is quite handsome. Master Phaegian is also super handsome. By the way, Master Phaegian doesn't seem to have married a wife yet. The eyes of the surrounding women lit up when they heard this sentence. My lord, what do you think of me? Master Tokama, I know a girl, she is pretty. Looking at the matchmakers, who suddenly became enthusiastic, they broke out in a cold sweat. Danzo, follow me to see Hokage-sama. As soon as he finished speaking, he slipped up and ran towards the Hokage building. Pung. A figure rolled in from outside Hokage's office. Teacher, can you be gentle? Danzo complained weakly while clutching his butt that was just kicked by Tobima. With arms folded between the doors, he walked in with a stern expression, it deserves it. Hashirama looked at Danzo's miserable appearance and laughed happily. Seeing that his elder brother didn't look dignified at all, Tobima coughed lightly. Hashirama stopped laughing after hearing Tomona's reminder. He covered it up with a cough, and looked at Danzo with a serious face. Danzo, how to explain that statue? Danzo sat on the ground, and when he heard Hokage say this, he quickly took out his prepared remarks. It's wrong, Hokage-sama. When Hashirama heard Danzo's answer, he was immediately happy. Wrong? Such a big statue stands there, do you think I'm an idiot? Master Hokage, listen to my sophistry, oh, no, listen to my explanation. Danzo patted the dust off his body and stood up from the ground. It's all for the village. Through my research, I found that in Konoha grass creation, the recognition of the village by the various families is not high. They still think about the family first, and the village second, so. So you carved your statue on it. Hashirama felt as if he had caught something, but couldn't figure it out. No, I just used my statue to practice my hands. By the way, to complete the task, I am a very good citizen. Phaegian thoughtfully aside. You mean to use the statue of Hokage to enhance everyone's recognition of the village? Is that useful? The column looked towards the door. Tokama nodded slightly. It's not a bad idea. Hashirama thought for a moment, Okay, it's decided, Danzo. What is Hokage-sama's order? It's up to you to carve a statue for me. Danzo pointed at himself, surprised. Aye? That's right, it's up to you. Please be sure to carve it at the same level as your statue. Zujian looked at the statues on the stone wall that were obviously beautiful and could see their own characteristics. As you order, Hokage-sama. Who told you to be my uncle? Feijian said coldly. In addition, I removed your statue. Okay. Danzo shrugged. Anyway, it was originally used to collect rewards. Master Hokage, if it's okay, I'll go first. Seeing Hashirama nodding, Danzo immediately slipped away. The apprentice that Feijian accepted is quite interesting. In the absence of outsiders, Hashirama put down Hokage's shelf. HMPH, he's just a brat. Feijian said with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. HMPH, I really don't want to move my face, that's all, for the reward. Danzo went to the Hokage rock and pulled out the wooden knife. One sword-style tiger hunting, seeing that Hokage Yanyan, who was like a work of art, was destroyed by himself. My heart is full of grief, my handsome face. Reluctantly, he directed his younger brother to help. After one day, Danzo shook his hands and looked up at the refined version of the original Hokage statue. Finally completed the task. Damn party A, you must be handsome yet chic, but also firm and gentle. There's no way, it's my own sin. I have to notify Hokage to check and accept it. How come there is such a handsome statue in this world? So it's me. Hashirama touched his face and said confidently. Shameless. The beautiful woman on the side rolled her eyes at him. Hashirama smiled innocently, without retorting. Hey. Uncle, who is this sister? Danzo asked suspiciously. My daughter-in-law. Uzumaki Mito, you should be called Auntie. Hashirama introduced Danzo. Then you have to have a good relationship, not only because she is a shadow-level powerhouse, but the yin seal is the key to not turning into that ghost in the future. Danzo said hello honestly. Hello, Auntie. You're good at carving. Well, I'll let you off this time, and don't make trouble in the future. Hashirama shook his hand to let Danzo leave, and he took Mito's hand and started talking. On the way home, Danzo turned on the system. Heavens and Worlds mission system. Host. Danzo Shimura Chakra, Wind, 0.7 calories, Strength, Chunin. Points. 128,800 skills, Armed Color Domineering, Beginner, Yidao Style Tiger Hunting, Elite, Yidao Lu Yanhui, Skilled, Substitution, Beginner, Clone, Beginner, Transformation, Beginner, Wind Escape Big Breakthrough, Proficient, Wind Escape Wind Cut, Elite, Vacuum Series, Creating, Carving, Master. Items. Indestructible Wooden Knife, Gintama. Some Steel Kunai, some Military Food Pills, some Detonating Charms, Black Shadow Mask, Hulk's Underwear. Task. Now it's time to see whose inheritance I got. The long road is long, only the sword is my companion. It turned out to be him, a hot man. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Gale Swordsman, Yasuo inheritance. Have learned Steel Slashing, Beginner, Wind Barrier, Beginner, Stepping Front Slash, Beginner, Blizzard Endless Slash, Beginner. A breeze blew across the street. Did you feel it? A man with a ponytail asked. Another passerby wondered, what did you feel? The power of the wind. Danzo couldn't bear his e-soul anymore. It's the power of happiness. Instead of walking slowly, he ran directly to the training ground. It's early in the morning, young people are really energetic. A vegetable seller yawned, watching the back of Danzo with sleepy eyes. As the sun went down, someone dragged his tired body home. He was still muttering incomprehensible words such as, to move forward, the wind is rustling and the water is cold. 2 days later, in the training ground, Tomona looked at the disciples in front of him and nodded. Because Hokage-sama has a lot of official duties and needs consultants to assist, I only have 1 day a week to train you. Today is the first time I officially become your teacher, and I don't know you well enough. Except for someone. He glanced at Danzo with his eyes. Danzo straightened his body straighter immediately. But Hirazaru Sarutobi and others still looked at him with strange eyes. After all, the Danzo statue was so big a few days ago, and now the statue of Hokage-sama is said to be the result of Danzo's efforts to make up for it. When he saw that everyone was looking at him, "What are you looking at me for?" Listen to the teacher. There was a word in everyone's mind, not billion. After hearing this, Fei Jian's mouth twitched, but he didn't pay any attention to him. How many people haven't learned the control of chakra? Raise your hand. Turning to bed, Kaharu and Mito Menyon raised their hands. A white smoke appeared, and 2 doors appeared on the scene. Danzo raised his hand. Teacher, your ninjutsu doesn't seem to be the avatar technique. I didn't expect you to have a good sense of perception. This ninjutsu is called Shadow Clone Jutsu. It is a ninjutsu I created based on my elder brother's wooden clone. Looking at the 4 people's eyes eagerly looking at themselves. Danzo is more direct. Teacher, I want to learn this. This ninjutsu is still a semi-finished product and needs to be perfected, Tomona said angrily. Tobima, you take these 2 to the big tree next to you to do chakra control training. Don't worry, the main body. The avatar version took Xuan Shaochen and Mito Menyon away. He looked at the remaining 2, Sarutobi Hiruzen, you have 5 attribute chakra, and the next training direction is the practice and combination of 5 attribute ninjutsu. Take out a storage scroll from the door. 5 ninjutsu with different attributes appeared on the field. After confirming the general direction of Sarutobi Hiruzen's training, he looked at Danzo. This kid knew that he was good at ninjutsu when he sculpted the statue before, and he showed off his sword skills during the competition. Danzo, your chakra attribute is wind attribute, and the characteristic of wind attribute chakra is sharpness. Your direction should be close combat? Well, sensei, I want to become the best ninja in the world who can use swordsmanship. Is it because my Thunder God sword is not good, or my water escape is not strong enough? After hearing this sentence, Fei Jian was slightly taken aback. Are you trying to surpass me? Of course. You are quite ambitious, then let me try your weight. After finishing speaking, I added another sentence. I will suppress my own strength. Danzo's hand holding the knife tightened. Mission. Fight with 1,000 hands. Reward. Unknown psychic beast egg. It just so happened that I lost a psychic beast, but what if I win? Host. This possibility is extremely small. How do you know if you don't try? He looked very high-spirited. Obey, teacher. Turn around and go to the center of the training ground. Just walk to the middle of the field. Water escape, water shock wave. I just sensed the ninjutsu's attack, but I didn't have time to take any precautions, and I didn't even have time to turn around. He was hit by Shui Dun all of a sudden, and his whole body was sent flying out. Asterisk. Danzo's face hit the tree trunk directly, and the leaves fell off with a crash. This is the first lesson taught to you. Don't show any signs of underestimating the enemy. The pain suddenly knocked down the heart energy that had been soaring due to strength during this period. Teacher, you don't talk about wood, you sneak attack me, a 5-year-old child. He turned his head, his face was red, he didn't know whether it was from shame or pain. On the battlefield, the enemy will not let you go just because you are a child. When saying these words, the voice of Tobema became slightly low. Danzo lowered his head. Teacher, I have been taught. By the way, the teacher's 2 younger brothers died in the war when they were young, and I heard that they are also rare geniuses. As this incident passed, Toma also began to teach the 2 other things, including survival in the wild, common herbs and so on. The sunshine ranges from warm in the morning to weak in the afternoon. A day of training also slowly passed. I am back. As soon as Danzo got home, he ran to his bedroom. Take out the psychic egg. Is it on? Open it, system. The egg trembled suddenly, and then the frequency of the trembling became larger and larger. A cute western dragon head emerges from the eggshell. Congratulations to the host, successfully obtained a pet, Night Fury. It's really a Night Fury. Suddenly, the little guy in the eggshell looked at the 2-legged beast in front of him and ignored him. A mouthful of dragon flame was sprayed on it. Whether to perform a psychic contract. Ahem. Danzo didn't expect this little guy to be so courageous. Looking at the little guy viciously, of course the contract. Yi Fury is a very good psychic beast, especially in the early stage. Only Yanyang's light and heavy rock technique and Kong Ninja Village can fly, which means that he is the overlord of the sky. This is also an additional means of life-saving. As the contract progressed, 1 man and 1 dragon felt a connection was established between the 2. The contract has been established. Boom. He casually gave the little guy a head-scratching blow, which can be regarded as revenge for the flames just now. The little guy looked at Danzo in protest, because he didn't dare to breathe fire on him because of the contract. Danzo looked at the little guy's cute Kazillan's big eyes, and finally gave in. Okay. I'm going to buy you fish to eat. He arrogantly turned his head to the other side. By the way, system, can this little guy help? It's so small. Also, isn't the Western dragon growing for a long time? I guess it's buried in the ground when it can help. Host, after systematic cultivation, it will grow very fast, and it will be comparable to the original work in about 10 years. 10 years, it's okay. At least the current Konoha is absolutely peaceful before the death of the first generation. Months later. What? Ninja mission system. Everyone in the Phagian team felt strange about this new system, so they couldn't help asking. The first generation of Hokage looked calm. Yes, this is the result of my careful consideration. After all, ninjas have to do something to support themselves regardless of production. Sitting next to him, Phagian coughed softly twice. The first generation added without changing his face, of course, there is also my little brother's help. Tobima stood up and said to the group of disciples, with your current strength, you can handle most of the escort missions, but to be on the safe side, I will send a senior who is not weak to follow you, but he will not do anything except life-threatening. After finishing speaking, he took out a scroll with the word B printed on it from the side file and handed it to Danzo. This is your task, and the completion is up to the employer to decide. Remember, you are the first mission in the village as the ninja team, so you must complete it beautifully. Yes, we promise to complete the task. The Tobima team responded in unison, and then walked out of the Hokage building. Genju Shaochan said as he walked. Speaking of which, this is the first time we have left the village after the establishment of the village. I don't know what it looks like outside. That's right. I'm really looking forward to it. If you encounter enemies, just knock them down. Maitamanyan echoed. Since there is a mission, it means that the outside is not stable. After all, not all places are guarded by strong men like our Hokage-sama. And I always feel that something is wrong. When everyone was excited, Danzing poured a basin of cold water down. Ha ha ha. Yes, it's not so stable outside. A voice came faintly from the crowd, and a figure shuttled past the crowd. Uchiha Mirror widened his Sharingan, although he could barely see the movement but couldn't react at all, he could only watch the sharp blade pass by his neck. In an instant, the black shadow passed through all the team members, accompanied by the sound of a sharp weapon cutting through the air. Only Danzo barely kept up with his speed and raised the knife to make him pause. Weak, very weak. Only one brat can cheer me up a little bit, but it's only a matter of 2 swords. The person who came was the patriarch of this generation of the Kurama family, Kurama Tiantian, Konoha's famous elite jonin. He still holds a strand of hair from everyone in a mission scroll in his hand, and the Konoha Kamanon vest on his body expresses his strength. Damn it, there is no way to fight back, it's not using ninjutsu. As this jonin? Even his physical skills can hardly block a move. Seeing that everyone was intimidated by his power to dismount, he coughed twice. If you were on the battlefield just now, you would already be corpses. Is this what you call knocking down the enemy at will? Everyone lowered their heads one after another, and the previous enthusiasm for being able to leave the village also dissipated a lot. Behind him, Tomona and Hashirama in the Hokage building looked at each other and smiled. Even eagles flying in the sky have to learn to bow their heads when they are young, let alone these chicks. Let me introduce myself first, Konoha Elite Shangnin Kurama Tiantian, and also the patriarch of the Kurama clan. Danzang's eyes lit up. This is not a waste of effort. The training of mental ability has come to an end. I'm Maitoman Yan. I'm going to sleep with Kaharu. Hearing these people's registration, Kurama Tianyun's eyes didn't change at all. I'm Shimura Danzo. At this time, there was a faint hint of appreciation in his eyes. Let's go and meet our employer. Leaning against a brand new wooden house was a middle-aged man wearing dusty, shabby clothes, looking at the wooden house with cloudy eyes, with longing and envy in his eyes, watching several people walking towards him. He straightened up quickly, took out a clean handkerchief from his arms, and wiped off the part he was leaning on before. Master Ninja, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I accidentally leaned there. A dark face is full of fear for the power holder.
Hello, it's nothing. You are the employer, Ji Yu Xuanji.
Ah, yes. The expression on his face changed from fear to surprise in an instant. Then let's set off tomorrow. After all, they have to prepare things for the trip. But his expression suddenly became embarrassed. Is there any difficulty? It's just that I don't have any money for accommodation, and the whole village has pooled together the expenses for my previous visit. Gu Chuanjie lowered his head, looking quite embarrassed. Although he wanted to ignore him, but the education of his previous life made Danzo open his mouth. Let him come to live in my house, anyway, I'm the only one in my house. He raised his head, with the cunning of a little villager in surprise in his eyes. I won't bother you. Thank you. Kurama Tiantian looked at the crowd, took out a few notes and distributed them, and then took a deep look at Danzo. Tomorrow we will prepare according to the above equipment. Let's disband now. Yes. As the sun sets, only the light of every household is left in the whole Konoha. And in Danzo's home, there were hot dishes on the table, and Gu Chuanjie came out wearing a scarf, holding 2 bowls of rice in his hand. Will I cook too much? Ah. What did you say? Danzing walked out of the kitchen with a big bucket of rice in his arms. Looking at Danzo's big bucket and then at his own small bowl, he swallowed the words silently. It's okay. I mean, I'm going to fry 2 more dishes. Oh, yes. After a while, the last 2 dishes were served. I'm going to start. Danzo was about to raise his chopsticks when he was stopped by Gu Chuanjie. Wait a minute, I'll show you something nice. After finishing speaking, he took out a small gourd from his package, and then took out 2 wooden bowls. He poured slightly cloudy wine for the 2 of them. Mr. Gu Chuanjie, this is wine, brewed in our own village. I was not willing to drink it all the way here. Looking at the wine in the bowl, he swallowed slightly, looking extremely greedy. Is it so precious? Then let's get started. Danzo also looked eager. The 2 exchanged cups and had a happy chat for a while. Slowly, a gourd of wine soon bottomed out, and Danzo seemed to be overwhelmed and fell on the table. When Gu Chuanjie saw him looking drunk, a gleam of joy flashed across his face. Hastily opened his mouth to test. Brother Danzo, do you know? I am the most powerful hunter in our village, and many prey can't escape my trap. Seeing that Danzo only murmured and responded twice, he felt relieved and got up to go to the study in the house. In front of the bookshelf, Gu Chuanjie rummaged in a panic, and whispered anxiously, Where is it? Where is it? As long as there is a chakra extraction method, as long as we become a ninja, our village will no longer be bullied. Unaware that a figure behind him was watching him silently. Found it. Gu Chuanjie's hand holding the scroll trembled slightly, holding the scroll in his hand gently. Oh. What did you find? Of course I found it. He was so happy that he answered smoothly. After realizing it, his whole body trembled slightly, and he turned around slowly. The appearance of a small 10-year-old child is full of oppression at this moment. Boom. The scroll in his hand was unsteady and fell to the ground. At this time, Gu Chuanjie knelt down on the ground as if waking up from a dream. Sorry, Ninja-sama. Do you know that it is a dead end for people from other villages to take the owner's things from Konoha without authorization? Danzo said as he walked forward and picked up the scroll that fell on the ground, wiped it clean and put it in its place. It seems that you have discovered it a long time ago, Danzo. In the shadow of the study, a figure slowly walked out. It was Kurama Tiantian. It turned out that he had been here from the very beginning, but he just used illusion to hide himself. At this time, Gu Chuanjie's heart was already ashamed, and he knocked his head heavily on the ground. 1, 2, 3. He didn't stop until his face was covered with blood, and said in a trembling voice. You 2 ninjas. What happened tonight is my own initiative, and I am willing to apologize with death. It has nothing to do with other people. Please be sure to complete the task. Hey, it's smart. A task is a task. You are you. The employer of the task is your village, and you are still the representative of your village. I won't kill you for the time being. Kurama Tiantian said to him coldly. Then he turned to face Danzo. Does it feel like I'm cold-blooded? But every ninja who came down from the battlefield has been like this since ancient times. I only hope that the descendants in the village will not be like me in the future. After speaking, he activated the illusion to make Gu Chuanjie, who was kneeling on the ground, faint. He patted Danzo on the shoulder and left with the instant body technique, leaving only Danzo, who had just felt the coldness and reality of the ninja world, and Furukawa Kai, who fell to the ground. Cough. Danzo sighed, turned around and took out a blanket from the bedroom to cover him, and returned to the room. The room went back to pitch blackness. The next day, the people who came to the gathering place looked a little strange to Ji Chuanje, who was much more silent than yesterday, but they didn't think about it. Is everyone here? It's all there. Okay, let's go. A group of people came to the gate of the village, and the guardian ninja took the permission from Kurama Tiantian to leave the village. Elite Jonin. Kurama Tiantian Genin, Danzo Shimura, Hirazaru Sarutobi, Kaharu, Mitoman Yan, Uchiha Mirror. He pointed with his finger, adding an employer would be right. Okay, sorry for wasting your time. After speaking, he smiled at Kurama Tiantian, and signaled another guardian ninja to open the gate with his eyes. It's okay, it's your responsibility. He waved his hand, and then led the crowd out of the village. Because the employer is just an ordinary person, Danzo and the others just got on a specific carriage instead of going full speed ahead. As time progressed, at the beginning, everyone was very excited about the things around them, looking around, but when they saw the surrounding environment changed from orderly to chaotic, their interest gradually began to dissipate. And because this carriage had the sign of Muya village, it was considered safe along the way. Mr. Furukawa Kai, what is the place of the mission we are going to, the land of waves? After turning to bed, Xiaochan asked Furukawa Kai boringly. The kingdom of waves, that is a very small country. Poverty is its pronoun. Except for a certain guardian force near the capital, killings and robberies often occur in other places. He looked at her slightly surprised look and smiled slightly. It's incomparable to the land of fire where you live, just like the reward for this mission, which was managed by the village. After saying that, looking in the direction of the carriage, there seemed to be light in his eyes. But it's home there. After a few days, everyone was getting closer and closer to their destination. In the end, they stopped at a place that could be called a remote place in the land of waves. The naked children playing at the intersection of the village saw an unfamiliar carriage coming to the village, so they hurried back home and only watched silently from the windows. Until a familiar figure got off the carriage. Immediately, he shouted to the adults in the village in surprise, "I'm back, Uncle Ji Chuanje is back." Soon after, the whole village gathered at the entrance of the village. Danzo stood by the carriage and looked at the villagers. Sallow and thin skin is a common phenomenon here, but looking at the forehead protectors on our heads is full of expectations. At this time, a middle-aged man with gray temples came out from the crowd. With a flattering smile on his face, he greeted everyone. Everyone is Ninja-sama. I am the village head of this village, please come quickly and rest. The thatched huts in the village were arranged in a certain order, and the village chief led the group to the only brick house in the village, which was the ancestral hall of the village. Looking at the dilapidated brick house, Hirazaru Sarutobi frowned slightly, and looked at the surrounding environment with some disgust. Dilapidated walls, thin doors, no bed, only a pile of straw, and the only thing worth mentioning as furniture is a low table. The village head was keenly aware of the dissatisfaction of some young ninjas in the team, and quickly laughed along with him. My lords, this is the best house in the village. I hope all ninja lords will not dislike it. In addition, please wait a moment, I will serve the food right away. After finishing speaking, he backed out and closed the door of the house by the way. It's troublesome. After he finished speaking, Kurama Tiantian replied, then walked to the straw that was used as a bed and sat down. The environment here is too bad, there is not even a bed. After the village chief went out, Hirazaru Sarutobi complained softly. You must know that he is the heir of the Sarutobi family. Although the Sarutobi family is not a big family, compared with the conditions here, it is a world. Danzo, who had been silent before, spoke at this time. I see that the surrounding houses are all thatched houses, only this one is a brick house, and I heard that in some poor places, a family only has one piece of clothing. Have you seen those children at the entrance of the village? Several people nodded. This should be the case here, and they don't treat us lightly. I touched the table with my finger and found that there was no dust, and I held up that finger to show everyone. Upon seeing this, Uchiha Mirror said, they have done their best within a limited range. Kurama Yukumo, who was sitting on the ground, opened his eyes and looked at Danzo with approval. As a ninja, his intelligence gathering ability is already qualified. Others still need to be polished. Since they can be selected as disciples by Mr. Fagian, at least they can become the mainstay of the village in the future. Everyone fell asleep early after eating. From the second day on, start to eliminate the bandits nearby according to the mission description. Ji Yu Chuanje was still the guide, and today he seemed extraordinarily enthusiastic. How is the strength of the bandits? Although he had information, in order to ensure safety, Danzo still asked him. There are probably more than 100 people, all of them are strong men, and their leader knows ninjutsu. Speaking of this, his voice even trembled a little. The village next door was slaughtered by them last month because they couldn't pay their monthly quota. When our hunters risked their lives to check, there were only villagers' corpses. They couldn't even resist. The strength should be Chunin, so I should be able to handle it, Danzo thought. After nearly an hour, a group of people came to the bandits' residence. Looking at the shadowy people in the cottage, all of them were strong, and only men were walking around, so I realized it. The adults, I will go back first. He looked in the direction of the cottage with fearful eyes. Kurama Yakumo waved his hand, signaling him to leave, and then said to Danzo and the others, "The rest is up to you, and I will rate you according to your performance." As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared. Several ninjas gathered together to discuss the next plan. In the end, I plan to wait until after dark to lurk in, and the most powerful Danzo will restrain the bandit leader, and when the gangsters are cleaned up, they will work together to defeat the bandit leader. The sky gradually darkened, and everyone opened their eyes. When the time came, they looked at each other a few times to cheer each other up, and one by one used the instant body technique to run into the cottage. The outer wall of the cottage couldn't stop the ninja who had been trained by Danzo at all. They fell silently like cats and groped for the shadows, blending themselves into the darkness. Danzo sneaked into the largest room. Quietly get rid of the two miscellaneous fish guarding the door, block the moonlight with a black cloth, and open the window with a tiny crack. Suddenly, Itachi stabbed out of the window. Itachi stabbed out of the window. At the critical moment, he could only try his best to stagger his body. What a keen sense. Tear it off. The clothes at the waist were cut, but fortunately, no body was hurt. Almost as soon as he backed away, a shirtless figure rushed out. As soon as he played with his hands, 3 shurikens were shot out. After standing still, Danzo calmly pulled out his wooden knife and swept away all the flying shurikens. At the same time, the evil ghost tattoo on his arm was slightly hot, and several black shadows emerged and merged into his shadow. Yeah, I thought who it was. It turned out to be a little ghost. It really scared me to death. When the two confronted each other, the bandit leader saw clearly who it was, a 10-year-old boy holding a wooden knife. No, the forehead guard on his head is Konoha. Suddenly his face was cloudy and uncertain, and after thinking for a while, he said to Danzo, "You want to kill me just with the wooden knife in your hand? For the sake of you being Muya village, let me let you go this time, and write it off in the future. No matter what, my wooden knife can make you accept death." After hearing this sentence, the bandit laughed loudly on purpose, intending to wake up the sleeping young men. "Ha ha ha, if you don't eat a toast, you can give it a try." Hearing the shouting and killing everywhere in the cottage, his heart became heavier and heavier. "Don't waste your time in vain. Let's fight." Armed color hardened. Steel flash. The leader of the bandits rushed forward immediately, wanting to cut off everyone with a knife. It's just that when the weapons collided, the feeling from the knife was not that it had cut wood, but more like it had cut on fine steel. After an instant of contact, the two separated. The bandit leader looked at the part of the knife in his hand with an ugly face, and a gap suddenly appeared. Damn it. After throwing out a kunai with a detonating talisman, he immediately stuck the knife on the ground and formed a seal in his hand. Si, Wei, Shen, Hai, Wu, Yin, Art Fire Escape Ho Fireball. There was a sizzling sound in the smoke caused by the detonating talisman before the huge fireball flew straight away, and some of the scattered sparks landed on the wooden house behind, and the flames burst out all over the place. It's finally dead now. This is a ninjutsu that Lao Su bought from the black market through untold hardships. The bandit couldn't help thinking with some complacency. Don't you know that you can't kill people with fire escape? Danzo walked out of the smoke with a small dragon in one hand and a knife in the other. It turned out that after blocking the detonating talisman, he saw that this was Huo Dun's move, so he used the psychic beast to summon Toothless Boy. Although he was still in his infancy, Long Yan could already use it, so it was no problem to block a C-level ninjutsu. Now it's my turn. Shadow Core. Danzo called out in his heart, and the ghost tattoo on his arm became hot again. The shadow created by the flames behind him had completely covered his body, and several arms stretched out from his own shadow, grabbing him firmly. Armed color domineering, wind escape vacuum sword. At this time, the chakra attached to the wooden knife continued to tear the air, and there were bursts of sound. Slowly bent down, put the knife horizontally in front of him, like a tiger about to start hunting its prey. One sword style tiger hunting. The bandit frantically resisted the arm that was grabbing him, but it was too late. The wooden knife chopped off his body almost without hindrance. Cut in two. His wide eyes stared straight ahead, with horror and some relief. Murderers are always killed. Danzo dispersed the chakra and armed color on the wooden knife, and the original log-colored blade now seemed to be dyed with traces of bright red. What is that black thing? Is the new bloodstain limit?
Kurama Tiantian stood at a high place and watched the battle of these people. He would not shoot unless his life was in danger. Among them, Shimura Danzo was the best performer, but he still had mercy on the enemy.
And other people more or less have some shortcomings, such as Sarutobi Hiruzen is too impulsive and so on. Okay. There are situations. After repelling an enemy, Genju Shaochan was hugged tightly by a bandit who pretended to faint behind him, aiming at the opportunity. Just relying on physical fitness is difficult to break free for a while. It's troublesome. The chakra on my body is almost running out, and there are still a few enemies that have not been resolved. At this time, the eyes of the remaining bandits lit up, they glanced at each other, raised their weapons and rushed forward. Life is hanging by a thread. Am I dying? Obviously just a group of ordinary people. She closed her eyes as if resigned to fate. Illusion tree binding. A soft voice came from the nearby roof. Turning to bed, Shaochan saw that he hadn't been hurt for a long time, and slowly opened his eyes. All I saw was that the enemies in front of me were choking on their own throats, so that they suffocated and collapsed to the ground. Is it safe? Thank you, Captain Tiantian. With the expression of the rest of her life on her face, she said incredulously. You are the worst of all the people in this mission. After ending the enemies here, he left such a sentence lightly and started to observe other people. The painting style of other people is quite normal, but the battlefield of Mitomenian is full of corpses with broken arms, and the strength is not well controlled, and a lot of blood splashed on himself. The sound of fighting became smaller and smaller until it returned to silence. Everyone came to the largest open space in the cottage to gather again. Damn it, I didn't expect Danzo to be so strong. How can I compare to you? Hirazaru Sarutobi said in a slightly decadent manner. Oh? How confident are you that you want to beat me? Baga. I defeated nearly 30 enemies. When the two were arguing, Uchiha Mirror noticed that Mito Menyon was not very interested. Mitomenian. Why do you look so weird? Everyone looked at him after hearing it. He was about to say something, he gritted his teeth and got up and said to them. Forget it, you will find out when you come with me. A group of people came to the area where he was originally planned to fight. The ground was stained red with blood, and everyone's faces turned pale. Even Danzo couldn't stand it. Look, inside that house. Pushing open the half-closed door, women with numb faces came into view, staring ahead like ashes, as if there was nothing they could care about anymore. When they heard the sound of the door opening, they mechanically opened their legs. There were still a few corpses in the corner of the room, which had long since rotted away, and the whole room was filled with an unpleasant smell. Now you know why I did this. Mito Menyon said to everyone with an ugly face. Damn, they don't look like humans at all. Holding kunai's Sarutobi Hiruzen, he was the first to rush out, trying to kill the bandits who had just been knocked out before. The others also retreated silently, with murderous looks in their eyes. Not long after, the crowd gathered, and everyone seemed to be drenched in blood. Clap clap. Kurama Tiantian came out clapping his hands. Slightly rough killing methods, and a little lack of calmness, but as a ninja who is on the first mission, you have done a good job. After receiving the evaluation that they had been thinking about, everyone now packed their luggage and spoils and walked out of the cottage without the slightest bit of joy. After the devastated women were settled, they set fire to destroy the entire sinful village. After a few days, after returning to the employer's village, the cheers and gratitude of the villagers made everyone slowly wake up from their muddled state. Now that the task is completed, it's time to deal with the problem of the Gushuan world. At the singing and dancing villagers' celebration party, Tiantian, the pommel horse holding a wine glass, walked up to Tuanzang's ear and reminded him. As for how to deal with it, it's up to you to decide. Take it as my personal reward for completing this mission. Then he walked away again, leaving only Danzo sitting there thinking. In the middle of the night, the fire made a sizzling sound, and a black shadow holding a dagger that was shining coldly under the moonlight walked up to Danzo and raised the dagger, about to stab it. Did I let you die? Looking at Furukawa Kai, who picked up a short knife and wanted to commit suicide in front of his bed, Danzo straightened up and said lightly. My lord, that incident was caused by me alone and has nothing to do with the villagers, so I am willing to apologize with death, and I hope that my lord will not take his anger on other people. He was about to raise the knife and stab himself. Danzing was laughed at all of a sudden, so he could only take his knife first. I don't want to see blood these days. Next, follow me. Unexpectedly, after hearing this, his face became even more uncertain. After hesitating for a long time, he gritted his teeth and slowly took off his clothes. Now it was Danzo's turn to be anxious, and quickly stopped his movements. Why are you taking off your clothes? I mean you'll be my pony from now on. Oh. At this time, the originally dark face could actually see a little blush. After realizing that he had committed an oolong, he was at a loss for a while, so he could only kneel down first. In the future, only adults will follow. You can return to the Kingdom of Fire with us tomorrow, and leave near the capital, while learning how businessmen do business. This is your last chance. After Danzo responded calmly, he told him what to do next. After all, it takes a younger brother to become a leader in the ninja world, but before that, you have to leave something. As for the other side, come here after taking off your shirt. What? What? Just come if I tell you to come here. He walked over obediently, and saw Danzo bit his right index finger and pressed it on his back. Suddenly, the blood seemed to be alive and spread rapidly. About a quarter of an hour later, a ghost tattoo appeared on his back. This is the power I gave you. You can use this power to go to the Land of Fire to establish a mercenary organization called the Shadow Corps. Yes, my lord. After raising his head, Ji Yu Chuanji's dark eyes quickly flashed a red light, and then disappeared quickly. Okay, if you have nothing to do, just get out, I'm going to sleep. Danzo waved his hand, signaling him to leave. He lowered his head and stepped back slowly. The room fell silent again. The strength of the Black Shadow Mask is linked to me. Now I can summon a maximum of 100 Black Shadow Ninjas. Every time a ninja level is crossed, the number can be increased by 10 times. The only fly in the ointment is their strength. Cough. Forget it, take your time. Clearing all thoughts out of my mind, I fell asleep again. The next day, all the villagers stood at the entrance of the village to bid farewell to Danzo and others who were about to return to Konoha. Your life will get better and better. Hirazaru Sarutobi stood on the roof of the carriage and yelled at them, then jumped down and got into the carriage. I can finally go back to Konoha, I'm almost suffocated these days. Yes, I also miss the food cooked by my family. How much these teenagers thought about going outside at the beginning, how much they miss home now. Captain Tiantian, I want to learn a few illusions from you. Danzo sat next to Kurama Tiantian and begged him aloud. Oh? Why? Isn't Tokama-sama stronger? He was surprised after hearing this. Although this is the case, you also know that my teacher is quite busy with the situation of Hokage-sama. Thinking of his character in the early days, asking him to handle official duties would be worse than letting him plant trees, and there are so many things in a village, his younger brother must do it for him. He pondered for a while, it's not impossible to teach you. Suddenly, Danzo's eyes lit up. Thank you then. Hey, but there are conditions, let's talk after listening. Kurama Tiantian waved his hand, and then said the next condition. If my Kurama family declines in the future, if you want to keep the fire of my Kurama family, at least you have to keep hope. He felt a little strange when he heard this condition, because the current Kurama family has him as the patriarch. Although his strength is not as good as Hinata in the Oil Girl's patriarch, it is not far behind. Hey, don't look at the current status of the Kurama family, but I'm the only one who can support it. There is no JNIN in the family except me. It's a situation where there is no connection. The person closest to my strength is a Kunin. After finishing speaking, there was unavoidable depression in my heart. Chunin? That's okay. Maybe it will catch up in strength over time. That bastard is older than me. After speaking, he raised his head and saw Danzo's ashen-hearted eyes. Give me a quick word. Will this deal work? Okay. Thank you, Captain. Seeing that Kurama Tiantian was a little angry, he quickly responded. Isn't this the end? After finishing speaking, he took out a few scrolls from his arms and handed them to Danzo. Here are a few relatively low-level illusions and deciphering methods, as well as my handwriting. If you don't understand, go to the Pommel Horse tribe to find me. I will say hello to them. As for the others, we will talk about them after you finish learning. Yes, I see. Then he turned over and returned to the compartment, stuffing the scroll into the package. The carriage is driving, rushing during the day and resting at night, stopping and stopping along the way, gradually removing the heart that has just been covered with haze. It's almost here. In the distance, the gate of Muya village is already faintly visible, and the surrounding is lush and full of life. It seems that during the period of time we left, Hokage was often kicked out by Tokaima teacher to plant trees. Wangshan ran off the horse. From the dawn to the sunset, it was really at the entrance of Muya village. Thanks for your hard work. The two ninjas guarding the entrance of the village took the verification form, and after a word, they moved out of the way. It was almost dusk, and there were no people on the streets of the village, but we could see and hear the warm candlelight and laughter from every house. Let's go. I went to Hokage-sama to submit the task. This time the task was successfully completed, and there will be a lot of rewards. Kurama Tiantian came to Konoha. His always cold face also showed a smile at this time, and said to Danzo and others with a relaxed tone. Okay, everyone, let's see who gets to the Hokage building faster. After finishing speaking, Hirazaru Sarutobi used the instant body technique to run quickly. Ba ga, you cheated. For a while, there was laughter and noise in the street. At the same time, when a child from a certain family on the street was beaten sobbing and eating because he came back late, he heard voices from outside, and he was very impressed. Boom, 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 with the sound of knocking on the door, Hashirama, who was sitting on a chair, nailing his nails, and Uchiha Madara, who was wiping the ninja tools, and Tomona, who was buried in a large pile of documents, raised their heads at the same time.
Hokage-sama, Tomonama-sama, Madara-sama, Kurama Tengu Senpai and Shimura Danzo are here.
Finally back. Kurama Tiantian is a real guy. He can do an ordinary task for so long. He cursed with a smile on his mouth, but it was hard to hide the joy in his tone. For Hashirama, everyone in the village is family, and Tobima has already recognized his apprentice. Hashirama quickly put on a serious look, picked up a document and read it, cleared his throat, let them in. Hokage-sama, Madara-sama, Tomonama-sama, Hokage-sama, Tobima-sensei, Madara-sama. Several people spoke to Hashirama, Madara and Tomona. How is the task completed this time? Asked Fujian, who was sitting on the side processing the documents. Kurama Tiantian said with approval in his cold voice. Everyone performed very well in this mission, especially Danzo Shimura. Danzo is a genius of the younger generation in the village. He not only became a ninja earlier than others, but also created a set of Yufeng swordsmanship, and also has a new blood limit. Qianshu Feijon's cold and proud face was full of showing off at this time. In his opinion, in terms of talent in swordsmanship alone, he was definitely comparable to or even surpassed himself. Of course, it was not that other talents were inferior, but that he was not as outstanding in swordsmanship as he was, but he was still superior to his peers. This kid is really good. Madara Uchiha picked up the ninja tool and looked at it before saying. If you say that, then his future should be able to go farther than mine. Touching his nose, Kurama Tiantian didn't mean to be offended in the slightest. The stronger his talent, the happier he was, so that the Kurama clan would not be ruined quickly after his death. Don't be modest, Tiantian. Your attainments in illusion are extremely deep, and you are my trusted companion. Hashirama smiled and said something. You are here to receive the reward, take it, take it. Tobima saw the discomfort of Danzo and the others, and then handed them their part of the reward and said. Sarutobi and the others who were standing aside at this time cheered after hearing this, jokingly, in front of the teacher. Everyone would be like a mouse meeting a cat, and this was the first mission reward they received. At the second when everyone left, Shimura Danzo hesitated for a moment and then said, "Master Hokage, you took the file backwards." After speaking, he ran away in 3 steps and 2 steps. Among the 4 people who were still in the office, Tobuma and Uchiha Madara couldn't help laughing. Hashirama quickly turned the document upside down, and threw it on the table in Tobuma angrily. This stinky boy. Looking at the pommel horse Tiantian who wanted to laugh but didn't dare to laugh in front of the desk and could only hold back, he waved his hand helplessly. Laugh if you want to laugh. The office was suddenly filled with joy. After stepping out of the gate and looking back at the Hokage building, Shimura Danzo couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Who knows how long he hesitated to remind Hokage just now. Fortunately, it has come out now. If it takes a little longer, whether he can't help it is still a problem. He glanced at the crowd coming and going, and then looked at everyone, only to see that they were happily sharing the reward for this mission and discussing the next arrangement. After going forward to get the reward this time, he went to his home in the Shimura clan. There were quite a lot of people walking around in the clan grounds. Just as he was about to walk to his home, the clan chief Shimura appeared in front of him, and he was immediately dragged enthusiastically to the clan chief's mansion. In fact, Danzo is quite familiar with this place. Ever since he won the title of the strongest genius of Konoha's younger generation, the patriarch has often visited, and sometimes he will be invited to have a meal after going out to exercise. Before entering the door, use the Harry Potter world cleaner that you got during the task draw to clean up the dust all over your body. Speaking of which, it was his first time using it. Clean up the dirt all over the body was immediately isolated, and the whole person became refreshed. Danzo, is this your newly developed ninjutsu technique? Yeah, a small trick, just kidding. The patriarch looked at Danzo in disbelief. You must know that although his strength is not as elite as Kurama Tiantian, he is still a Junin. What's more, he is a ninja who majors in wind attribute ninjutsu. Even he can't do such brilliant skills. Ha ha ha. God bless my Shimura clan. In the future, you will definitely beat me, and you will definitely bring the Shimura clan to new glory. Okay. I heard you talking inside. The inner door was pulled open, revealing a middle-aged woman full of intellectual beauty. She glanced dissatisfiedly at Chief Shimura, then found Danzo, her eyes lit up, and she took his hand and walked inside. Danzo, you haven't been here for a long time, is it hard to do the task? He looked helplessly at Patriarch Shimura, but he only received a look of helplessness. Brother Danzo, you're here. The visitor was a cute 2-year-old girl, who immediately yelled in surprise when she saw Danzo, and ran forward to hug him. Hanging on his body like a koala, refusing to come down no matter what. Shimura Jinyi, come down quickly, the boss of Danzo just finished his mission. The small bamboo door opened, and a child with a samurai head pierced out came out. It was Shimura Dingtai, the grandson of the elder who had been beaten up by Danzo before. But it seems that he was scared of being beaten by Danzo, and now he regards himself as the #1 boy under Danzo's seat. According to his words, although my talent and strength are not good, I have a boss. Do you have any? Of course, Danzo hit him the hardest every time he got into trouble, and he has a long memory. Then he ran to Danzo, and dragged him to the dining table. Then you can trouble to play with the 2 of them first, and I will go to the kitchen to get some dishes, and it will be ready soon. Seeing Danzo getting along so well with his daughter, he covered his mouth and smiled as he walked into the kitchen. Boss Danzo, how did you do this mission? Is the enemy very powerful? Does the outside world look good? When the 2 walked together, Shimura Dingtai's small mouth was like a machine gun, very much like the limited edition of 100,000 Wise Ninja Bound. Each time it ended with a steaming bun rising from his head. It's just that it's at his house now, so it's not easy to do anything. He waved his fingers, then clenched them together and made a crackling sound. He shrank his head reflexively when he heard it. Here comes the food. At this moment, Natsuka Shimura, the wife of the patriarch, came out with 2 dishes of food. Seeing the delicacies with less color, fragrance and taste, everyone dared not move their chopsticks. Hey, this is all ready. Why don't you eat it? She looked at the big and small family with dissatisfaction. Mom, everyone is afraid to eat it. Some people say that there is no salt in the dish. Oh, silly son, how can I not know the dishes I cook myself? Here comes the chicken soup. Manual doghead. Jin Yi, put on your clothes quickly, it's snowing outside now. No, no, it's much better. I'm going to find Brother Danzing. Looking at him in red clothes, even without the outermost layer of thick coat, he looks like a red dumpling, and now this dumpling is bouncing and running towards him in the distance on the road that has just been cleared. Not far away, there were several children of the same clan happily having snowball fights and playing ninja games. Shimura Danzo stood at the door of his house and stretched out his hand to catch a snowflake falling from the sky. It's New Year's Eve. During the year, the village has gradually entered the right track, not only established a ninja system, but also established a task system, but I heard that other countries are also starting to establish their own ninja villages. Sure enough, there are still smart people in this world, but since I'm here, if I'm one step ahead, I'll never be caught up. But I always feel like I forgot something. Correct. In the second year of Konoha, Uchiha Madara left Konoha. No, Uchiha Madara is a super combat power no matter what. If you want to find a way, he seems to have left because he heard that Mr. Toykama did not allow Uchiha Madara to serve as the second generation of Hokage. Then the next step is to help Uchiha Madara. Danzo squinted his eyes and summoned Furukawa Realm with the Shadow Core. Soon, Ji Chuanje was brought to him across the Dark Kingdom by the Shadow Ninja. Subordinates pay homage to the Holy Master. Lord? Hey. This title is okay, especially if there is no Jackie Chan in this world. How have you been doing in the past 6 months? Danzo asked without turning his head, looking at Ji Chuanje who knelt down immediately after emerging from his shadow. Relying on the Lord, the Black Shadow Core can be regarded as a place in the black market, especially after the Lord's strength has been upgraded to Chunin. The number of the Black Shadow Core has expanded to 100 people, and we can assassinate even Chunin. Business has also achieved a lot of development, because of your whimsy and many new things. Now you can earn 1,000,000 taels a day. Ji Chuanje reported with respect and admiration. He really couldn't understand why there was such a big gap between people, and they didn't seem to be the same species. How much money is there in the book now? Can you buy a newspaper? Of course, 10 newspaper offices are fine. Danzo was slightly surprised, then shook his hands and ordered. Then buy 10 newspapers, work overtime after buying, and find a good editor to write me a story about the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara, write their friendship for me, and post it to Konoha immediately after writing. Yes. Isn't that all right? Danzo's inner villain is laughing wildly. Shan Xiaoju has no plan. The teacher has no wisdom. Let's see how I can turn things around. Knock knock knock. Brother Danzing, I'm here to see you. Ji Chuanje had the foresight to re-enter the Kingdom of Shadows, ready to go to work. Danzo walked out of the house and opened the courtyard door. After seeing Danzo, her face flushed with joy, and her 2 round and bright eyes shone like 2 small lanterns. He smiled and pinched his face, thinking it was red from the cold, and swept away the snow that fell on the clothes with his hands, and then took her little hand into the yard. The 2 hands were holding each other tightly. The big one wrapped the little one, warming her with his own body temperature, even sweating a little in the cold winter months. One was wearing a black robe, the other was wearing a red cold coat. The big eyes were full of love for Xiaoji's younger sister. Standing outside the yard, Shimura Natsuka looked at them with loving eyes, and nodded at Danzo's actions from time to time. When he greeted him, she woke up like a dream and realized that she was still standing there stupidly. Auntie. Auntie. Oh, I'm fine. Jinyi will trouble you to take care of me all morning. Don't let her be lazy. We've been a little busy recently. This girl can only be trained well with you. After saying that, he left in a hurry. No problem. I will practice her ninjutsu ability more. Ah, Brother Danzo, you don't know how hard my mother trained me. As soon as her mother left, the little girl complained aggrievedly with her mouth puckered. Ha ha ha, the outside world is very cruel. If you want to protect your family well, you have to train hard. He patted Shimura Kinyi's head and said with a smile. Okay. I know you are like this, Brother Danzo. But I want Toothless to play with me, no, to train with me, okay? You must know that Danzo has been an only child for 2 lifetimes. What can he do with such a lovely younger sister? Of course it is spoiled. I really can't help you. Spiritualism. Danzo bit his finger and lowered his finger to the ground a little. Bang. As the smoke dissipated, a 1-meter-long dragon fell asleep on the ground. The cold wind was blowing gently. Toothless Boy yawned slightly, opened his eyes, stretched his waist, and was about to go back to sleep again. As soon as he opened his sleepy eyes and scanned the surrounding environment, he saw a human cub running over with his hands open. No, it's her. In an instant, he jumped up in fright. If it wasn't for the lack of hair on his body, the hair on his body would definitely explode. After a wild meal, the toothless boy was dragged to the small training ground in the backyard of Tuan Zhang's house, lying on the ground. The scratches on the ground seemed to show how desperate the owner was. Now is the time to organize your thoughts. Heavens and Worlds Mission System. Host. Danzo Shimura Chakra. Wind. 1.1 calories. Strength. Chunin. Points. 219,000 Bloodline. One Piece World Family D. Inheritance. Wind Swordsman Yasuo Skills. 1 Sword Style Tiger Hunting. Elite. 1 Sword Style Swallow Return. Skilled. 3 Body Technique. Skilled. Wind Escape Great Breakthrough. Skilled. Wind Escape Wind Slicing. Beginner. Vacuum Series. Skilled. Sculpture. Master. Armed Color Domineering. Skilled. Items. Indestructible Wooden Knife. Jintama. Some Steel Kunai. Some Binglang Pills. Some Detonating Charms. Black Shadow Mask. Zhuge Liang's Feather Fan. Task. Now that my strength has exploded, if I use the trump card at the bottom of the box, I should be able to keep up with the ninja. Of course, it is especially ninja, which can guarantee that I will not lose in a short time. As far as I know, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Uchiha Kagami are about to break through to Chunin in the village. Sure enough, a genius is still a genius after all. System. Do you dare to let me say a word? And after my precise planning, Uchiha Madara should, probably not defect. Then he is the second Hokage, and the teacher should be the third Hokage, and I will barely be the most handsome fourth Hokage. I don't know why, but when I think of Sandai Hokage, I think of Sarutobi Hiruzen, a rookie. Therefore, it is better to give the title of 3 generations to the teacher. Who will let himself respect the teacher? At that time, if he dominates the ninja world for 100 years in a row, why not worry about his great cause? Ha 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 ha. System. I have to say that your laughter has the feeling of Uchiha laughing wildly at the 4 masters. How can I say that I am also your host's father, so I am talking to my father like this? System. Cough cough. Clearing his throat, he returned to the state of a handsome young man. Pinching seals in his hands, he used the shadow clone technique that teacher Fagian taught him impatiently for a long time. When the smoke cleared, 2 Danzos appeared on the scene. Then I'll leave it to you, my sister. I'll go outside to have a look first. After finishing speaking, he ran out of the clan with big strides, completely ignoring the resentful eyes of the clone behind him. Have you heard? What did you hear? Uchiha Madara and Hokage-sama? I've never heard of this one before. Come on, brother, this way please, explain in detail. At this time, Danzo used the transformation technique to turn into an ordinary Gu Tianel and sat in a tea house drinking tea. Hearing everyone around him discussing the deep friendship between the two, he couldn't help but feel extremely proud. Isn't that all right? Using the friendship between Uchiha Madara and Senjuju as an entry point to stabilize the relationship between the two, I am simply a genius. But why are they so sneaky when discussing the friendship between the two? Is it necessary? No, I have to lead a wave. After thinking about it, he got up and walked towards the table of people who were talking just now. I don't know what the brothers were talking about just now. I heard some at the next table, and I'm a little interested in it. This. The person who was the first to speak out just now showed embarrassment, and the few people at the same table kept silent. Danzo was slightly taken aback when he saw this, and then he laughed when he saw his 2 fingers rubbing back and forth non-stop. Waiter, I invite you to this table. They immediately beamed with joy, and hurriedly greeted Danzo to sit down. This brother is really generous, and he looks like a talent. He looked at Danzo with appreciation on his face, and complimented him. I'm so lucky today, I met someone who took advantage of me. I'm not bad but my brain is not good enough. Yeah. This time I can go whoring for nothing, ha ha ha. Danzing looked at the appearance of the crowd, and guessed the general thoughts in their hearts. With a very friendly smile on his face, he said, where is it? It's just ordinary, but can this brother talk about it? Of course. He greeted several people to bring their ears closer. I heard that Hokage-sama likes Uchiha Madara. They are true love. Mrs. Hokage is just meaning. What? Like? What? True love. What? Am I a third party? At this time, Uzumaki Mito, who went out to buy vegetables, naturally also heard the rumors in the market, and was so shocked that she almost couldn't hold the vegetables. You must know that she was a woman who followed Hashirama during the Warring States period. One can imagine how shocking this incident was. Hearing the news that he had completely changed, Danzo's heart was cold, and he didn't care about anything else. After paying the money, he immediately ran home and prepared to contact Jiyu Chuanje. Just kidding, if he doesn't run away, this little brother may not even find his ashes. However, before leaving, he used his shadow avatar to inform the Konoha guard a little bit, and asked them to punish the one who spread the rumor just now, who made him the Lei Feng of the ninja world. Sure enough, on the night Danzo finished notifying Furukawa Kai, someone saw a flying skeleton flying out of Konoha. A few days later, there were reports that 10 newspaper offices were reduced to ashes overnight. It's really society, brother Ban. Revenge doesn't happen overnight. But there are some things that become more and more popular as they are banned. The rumors on the market have not stopped, but have become more and more fierce. There are 3 versions that Guang Tuanzang has heard. Senju Bashirama and Uchiha Madara are true love. Uzumaki Mito is the third party. Uchiha Madara likes Uzumaki Mito, but he can't love it, and he can't rob it from his brother, so he won't marry for life. Uchiha Madara likes Senshu Feijian, and both of them happen to be unmarried, so they are a couple. The first type of rumor is the most widely circulated. Hello everyone. I am Uchiha Madara. Originally, since Konoha was established, I have lived a peaceful life. Although I occasionally feel uncomfortable watching Senshu Banma, I can bear it because Hashirama has promised me to be the second generation of Hokage. But yesterday they were arguing about my qualifications to be Hokage, and Hashirama was silent. Now I don't know why, but when I walk on the street recently, I always get pointed, and even the people in the Uchiha clan look at me with complicated eyes. I feel very confused, and recently I always feel that Shimura Danzo is avoiding me. Could it be that my plan to defect to Konoha was known? It shouldn't be. I just thought about it for a few days. Until I heard, idiot. It is said that the people next to the Uchiha clan seem to have heard a loud noise and a pillar of fire soaring to the sky that day, and then in the evening, the patriarch rushed out of the clan with a round fan angrily. After a few days, I returned to the residence with a cold face. In the Hashirama family, the majestic god of the ninja world knelt on the washboard, and the 3 parties involved all had a strong interest in the instigator of this incident. And the instigator was hiding at home and shivering. Although he had a vest, the vest was not necessarily safe. Especially now that the teacher is involved in rumors, although the teacher's IQ is a little bit worse than mine, but he is already very powerful. No, we can't sit still. It is necessary to adjust the vest by 100 million points, and come to a suit within a suit. I don't believe that I can be found like this, but the plan to save Uchiha Madara is completely bankrupt. A few days later, although the village is still singing and dancing, there seems to be an undercurrent flowing in this ocean. The 2 Junin who saw the patriarch and the patriarch's wife for a few days in a row all looked dignified, and they didn't even have time to bring the baby. On the 10th day after the year, a news that shocked the ninja world came from Konoha. Uchiha Madara defected, become the first S-class rebel in the history of Konoha. This Shira of the ninja world stirred up the situation in the ninja world with his own power, because the only person who can compete with him is the god in the human world in Konoha. But now this god is no longer joking and laughing like usual, and his face is full of dignity. Senshu Feijian calmly issued an order to bring the panic-stricken Konoha ninja village back on track. Because he knew that the current elder brother must be upset when faced with the betrayal of his best friend, and he can only rely on himself. The notice goes on. All Konoha Jonin gather at the Hokage building for a meeting. A few quarters of an hour later, all the Jonin were assembled in the Hokage building. Everyone sat in their own seats in the conference room. Everyone, I believe you have already heard about this situation. I won't say much, I will just say one sentence. This is the first crisis since the establishment of Muya village. After the resistance is over, there will be peace. Understood. All the Junin have a solemn face. At this stage, only family ninjas can reach Junin. Those present are either elders or patriarchs. And Konoha is now closely linked with the family. Uchiha Madara will definitely come back. During this period, we must keep our spirits up, because he may appear at any time. Brother, you contact sister-in-law and ask her to invite someone from her family to help Konoha arrange the enchantment. I don't want to block Uchiha Madara. I just hope that when he appears, we can know as soon as possible. Okay. The meeting did not end until dusk, which cast a cloud over the new year that just passed. It was clearly a sunny day just now. Why is there such a big dark cloud? It will rain later. Danzo, who was sitting in the room, was looking at the ninjutsu scroll, and suddenly felt the cold wind blowing in from the window, with thick moisture. It's really rainy and windy. Sure enough, the summer rain is so arbitrary. Pedestrians on the street ran home because of the weather. At this time, a person wearing a bamboo hat and core raincoat was approaching Konoha step by step from the gate of Konoha. Konoha, I'm back in a familiar place, with even stronger power. The one who came was Uchiha Madara, and now he has subdued Kurama, that is, Nine Tails is his psychic beast, feeling that his strength has reached its peak, and even began to fantasize about Hashirama begging for mercy at his feet. Ha 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 ha. What he didn't know was that at the Konoha gate not far away, two guardian ninjas were looking at him and whispering. Hey, do you think the person in front is out of his mind? Why are you laughing? It is estimated that he is seriously ill. Should we let him in? This Hokage-sama didn't say whether mental illness can enter Konoha, but it should be possible if you think about it. Oh, let him in then. Seeing Konoha getting closer, he pinched his hands, and when they stopped him, he was ready to kill the two guards at the door together. However, after he passed by, neither of them made a sound to stop him, just treating him as an ordinary villager. It's just that they look at themselves so strangely, and they seem to have a feeling of pity for themselves. Is there an ambush inside Konoha? Uchiha Madara brainstormed for a while, and made up a lot of brains. But I let them go without stopping myself. Anyway, there is only one person who can be my opponent and the only person I care about. That is Senju Bashirama. When he thought of him, he could hardly contain his excitement. The eternal kaleidoscope in his eyes twirled wildly, and he walked straight to the Hokage building. Senju Hashirama, who was playing cards boredly in the office, suddenly trembled. He's back. I can feel his chakra breath. Who? Uchiha Madara. Why didn't the enchantment respond? Did he go through the main entrance? Qian Shufei was very puzzled. Whoever did the sabotage was not sneaky. Maybe he was sick with his swagger. Without answering, he turned around and looked out the window solemnly. Fire escape! A monstrous fire roared and rushed towards the Hokage building from bottom to top. The scorching breath even evaporated the rainwater falling from the sky. Phagian, let's shoot together. Mudden the birth of the tree realm. Trees rose up quickly, but they were not used to block the terrifying flames, but to protect the houses on both sides of the road, and there were still people inside. Water escaped the art of great waterfall for a moment. The water vapor in the air was evacuated, and even the dark clouds in the sky thinned a lot. A huge torrent spewed out from the mouth of Senshubajian, and collided with Uchiha Madara's flames. For a while, the whole street became foggy, and you couldn't see your fingers. Madara, if you really want to fight, go outside and fight outside. The people inside Konoha are innocent. Seeing that the fire escape ninjutsu was successfully intercepted, Senju Hashirama jumped out of the building and said to him. Oh, the benevolence of a woman. Having said that, I wanted to keep going. Wooden dungeon wooden dragon art. He seized the opportunity and summoned a huge wooden dragon to bite Uchiha Madara and rush out of the village. My Dio, Hashirama, you, a guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes, even learned how to use tricks. Fortunately, Labor and Capital summoned the incomplete Susanoo to protect his body at the critical moment, otherwise he would have died this time. In this way, Uchiha Madara was bitten and brought to the future valley of the end. Tobirama, Konoha is relying on you. This is the grievance between me and Madara, don't come with me. Senshu Bashima took off the Hokage robe from his body and put it on Senshu Fama. Brother, you, he still wanted to say something but was pushed back with one sentence. If you still recognize me as your elder brother, don't follow me. After finishing speaking, Hashirama summoned another wooden dragon, and chased in the direction of Uchiha Madara without looking back. Valley of the End. When Hashirama arrived, Uchiha Madara had already broken free from the restraint with his pupil power, and the two officially began to confront each other. Hashirama, let me show you my new power, necromancy, 9 tails. A huge 9-tailed fox with a ferocious face roared and opened its scarlet eyes. He calmly formed a mudra with his hands, and a huge tree root rushed out from under his feet, trying to control 9 tails in vain. But the wooden escape, which was invincible in the past, was easily broken by it at this time. Seeing them rushing over, Hashirama took out the scroll and summoned the ninja tools. He used 2 things at once, while fighting Uchiha Madara's taijutsu duel, and at the same time blocking Kyuubi with Mudden. Advanced ninjutsu such as multiple shuriken techniques and so on are as simple as eating and drinking in their hands. Uchiha Madara blocked the rapidly appearing shurikens one by one and jumped onto Kyuubi's head. The natural energy in the air gathers in 9 tails' mouth. Tailed beast jade. Hashirama unhurriedly gathered all the trees together. Wooden dungeon tree array wall with 1-hand pinch seal. The tailed beast jade that was enough to destroy a hill was easily bounced away. The tailed beast jade that bounced off directly plowed a deep furrow on the ground. Wooden dungeon wooden dragon art. The scattered wooden escapes gathered into a wooden dragon whizzing around 9 tails. For a while, the two roared at each other, but the 9-tailed beast jade condensed in an instant, destroying the wooden dragon's head, and the wood giant condensed again on the wooden dragon's body, and caught the tailed beast jade, intending to smear its face again. But it was blocked by Susanoo. During the stalemate between the two, the tailed beast jade exploded directly, like a nuclear explosion, raising dust soaring in place. When the smoke dissipated, I saw Kyuubi wearing a layer of Susanoo armor, holding a big sword, and looking down at Hashirama. Uchiha Madara controlled Kyuubi to swing the sword in his hand, and slashed down hard. Wooden dungeon. The art of cloth bags. The two collided again, and the ground was almost unable to support the attack of the two. Must be transferred to the sea, Hashirama thought. Uchiha Madara saw that Hashirama pulled away and left, and hurriedly chased after him. Don't try to escape. When approaching the beach, he combined the Susanoo's sword in his hand with the tailed beast jade, forming a new move and flying towards Hashirama. I don't believe you can stop it now, damn. Spiritualism fivefold Rashomon. With the help of Rashomon's arrangement angle, Susanoo beast jade successfully avoided hurting himself. But when Hashirama looked back and saw the power of that move, he still couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. He even raised a small island to the ground. This made Hashirama also decide to work hard. Mouth escape in Asura mode. But it seemed useless. Hashirama had no choice but to make a seal upon seeing this. Clap both hands, fairy mode. Cianfa wooden true thousands of hands. A giant Buddha rose from the ground, and in terms of body shape alone, it has surpassed Uchiha Madara. Fight fight fight. Hashirama was unable to maintain the state of Senshu, and Uchiha Madara's pupil power was almost exhausted, and Susan's armor was destroyed. After exhausting the last celestial chakra, he used Kuon's hand to seal the 9 tails and then exited the celestial mode. The two looked at each other, and they both knew in their hearts that it was time for a showdown, because there was no chakra, only physical skills left. Between the flashes of cold light, Uchiha Madara stood while Senju Hashirama fell. Looks like I won. Before he could eat the fruits of victory, a knife suddenly pierced his chest. The one on the ground is the wooden avatar. He looked at Zujian in disbelief, no longer had the strength to stand still, and slowly fell to his knees. Hashirama said to Uchiha Madara with a firm expression. No matter who you are, you can't be an enemy of the village. This is my dream land. You've changed, Hashirama. Sooner or later this will turn into darkness in the village. After speaking, he fell straight down. Holding the wound bitten by Madara just now, Hashirama staggered back along the road. A generation of close friends end up at odds. Not far from the Valley of the End, 2 people, one big and one small, stood on a high cliff and watched the final battle. Teacher, are those 2 people really human? It was the first time that Danzo saw a human being who was like a small nuclear explosion. Compared with the shocking scene in the anime, the description in the anime is nothing. It should be. Speaking of which, I rarely see my elder brother playing so hard. At this time, Qianshu Feijon's calm look on his face was also somewhat difficult to maintain, although he didn't want to admit it. But he still can't compare with these 2 people. It's like the immortals of the six paths fighting in the world, or the left hand fights the right hand. In the distance, tailed beast Jade and ninjutsu collided continuously, showing the power of the two most terrifying people in the world. The aura storm caused by the fight alone is unbearable. It is estimated that the aftermath can wipe out the Chunin, the kind that doesn't even have a corpse. Of course, Danzo is not included. At least with the strength of Danzo, it is still possible to leave a corpse. Look and learn more. Watching the battle between them is good for you. That's why I brought you here. Looking at the scene of the battle, he gradually became obsessed, as if he had caught something, but he didn't seem to. Tomona looked at Danzo with some surprise. His current state is obviously selfless, isn't it? This talent can already be said to be not weaker than him. Suddenly, a rock as high as a person was washed away by the aftermath and flew towards the direction of the two of them. This stone flew with astonishing kinetic energy, and its power was comparable to that of a solid cannonball. Danzo was awakened, and the previous feeling was becoming thinner. The state was awakened. No, he can't let him miss this opportunity, and just use this stone as his finishing touch. Immediately, he folded his arms and looked at Danzo, motioning for him to make a move. I can only bite the bullet. Seeing that teacher Feijian didn't intend to make a move at all, he sighed helplessly, pulled out the wooden knife, and held it in front of him. Armed color domineering wind escape vacuum sword. After adding the buff to the weapon, he looked at his opponent intently. Chop. Wait a minute, I seem to hear the breath of that rock. There. Danzo changed his slash to a thorn, and instantly understood the weakness of the rock and penetrated through it. In the blink of an eye, the rock has turned into dust. Congratulations to the host, comprehend the arrogance of knowledge and knowledge. It seems that you seized that opportunity. Seeing that Danzo was successful, Tomona let go of the heart that was raised because of the decisive battle. Opportunity? What opportunity? Is it the state where the head feels empty? Have you ever experienced it, teacher? Otherwise, how did I get so much inspiration for developing ninjutsu? After finishing speaking, he looked at Danzo with the eyes of standing on the commanding heights of wisdom. Teacher, why do I think you are despising me? Be confident. Danzo just smiled. I'm just mocking you. The smile on his face suddenly froze. I'm fine, wait until I can beat you. The talent is okay, but the brain is not good. Both master and apprentice sighed at the same time, feeling helpless in their hearts. Looking at the battle from dark to dawn, the original mountain has changed, and there is also a pile of melon seed shells on the ground of Danzo. Seeing the teacher looking at him, he grabbed a handful of melon seeds and handed them over. As a result, there was another pile of melon seed shells on the ground. Teacher, do you think we can practice like Hokage-sama? It's hard to say, I'm still a little bit worse. Fei Jian stopped his hand from cracking melon seeds, thought for a while and said. As for you, ahem, the future is promising. Teacher, can't you have some confidence in me? But I didn't know how strong a strong man is before, and now I have seen it. Toikama knocked off the last melon seed and stood up, looking at Danzo. Suddenly, he gave him a brain blow with his hand. What are you muttering about there? Hurry up and catch up, didn't you see that they hit the beach? It hurts. Danzo covered his head with tears in his eyes and summoned Toothless with psychic magic. The current Toothless boy can barely carry people, but the speed is not fast. It doesn't mean that it is as fast as an adult, but it can fly faster than run. Then teacher, won't you catch up? He jumped on the back of the dragon and looked at Qianshubajian with doubts. Well, you take this kunai first. Tobima took out a kunai from the ninja bag and threw it to Danzo. After receiving it, he took a closer look for a while, and found that this kunai was a little different from ordinary kunai, with spells all over the body of the weapon. I don't understand, this is it, Tomona just wanted to explain, but was interrupted by Danzo. Teacher, is this the legendary Flying Thunder God kunai? Yes, hurry up and get out. Qianshu Feijian looked a little uncomfortable, and waved him to leave. Danzo smiled honestly, and let Toothless fly away quickly, feeling a little relieved in his heart. Now you know the pain of being interrupted halfway through a 13-pack, ha 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 ha. Chasing along the traces left by their fighting and chasing all the way, the surrounding forest and mountains are a wide road, created by the aftermath of the two people's fighting. There is one thing to say, is it not good to engage in infrastructure construction with such power? He can definitely become the #1 in the ninja world. If he had this kind of power in his previous life, he would definitely take over the work of tiling the Great Wall and installing elevators on Mount Everest. Things on the ground flashed quickly in his eyes, and he finally saw it. Dio, have already opened Gundam. Prestige Susanoo vs Thousand-Handed Buddha. See, this is their real power. Senshu Fama appeared next to Danzo at some point. Another fierce battle. Finally the two behemoths disappeared, and only Zhu Jian staggered out of the battlefield. Danzo and Senju Tobima hurriedly greeted him, and Toikama put the Hokage Yushin robe on him, covering his tattered clothes that had become due to the battle. Danzo rolled his eyes. Now Uchiha Madara should not be dead, so can't he go to picking up corpses? So he summoned a few black shadow ninjas to take a look, hoping to pick him up before highway. Several black shadow ninjas rushed to the scene quickly, but there was no sign of anyone's presence. Water escape Waterblade / suddenly a Waterblade passed through, and only one of the black shadow ninjas remained, the one with white hair. Good guy. It's Tomona sensei. Danzo saw the attacker's face through the black shadow ninja's perspective. The corner of his mouth twitched, and he looked at the teacher who was supporting Hashirama by his side. He didn't expect when his shadow clone would go out. Hand over Uchiha Madara, and spare your life. The water blade in his hand was spinning at high speed, as if to express that he could take your life at any time. It's broken. I have become a blame man. Is this the fate of Danzo? At this time, the black shadow ninja wanted to speak, but his stiff face made him unable to speak, so he could only hold the samurai sword tighter, so that he could die with dignity later. Would you rather die than submit? Very good. Seeing that the weird man in black ignored him, he felt a little annoyed. The last picture that the black shadow ninja sent back was a huge water blade covering his face. Although he didn't feel pain, there was always a feeling of being insulted, which made him look at his teacher resentfully again. Suddenly, Fei Jian frowned. It seemed that the shadow clone had passed back the memory after it dissipated. It's over now, the blame is set. You know I didn't do anything. Do you want to help you recall the newspaper incident? This time, that time does not count. Tomona hesitated for a moment, and spoke to Hashirama, who was still recovering his chakra with his eyes closed. Brother, just now I sent a shadow clone to look at Uchiha Madara's body, and found that the body was gone. There were only a few strange ninjas in black clothes present, who might have been rescued by them. Hashirama pulled himself together, opened his eyes and said to him. Is there any other accomplices? Uchiha Madara must have been killed by me. They want a corpse, right, Sharingan? After the investigation of the previous newspaper incident, there were also those people in black clothes involved. If it was a group, then it would make sense for Uchiha Madara to destroy those 10 newspaper offices in an instant, but it is difficult for us to verify. Seeing that the two were discussing in full swing and getting closer and closer to the truth, Danzo swallowed his mouth several times. Especially when the newspaper incident was mentioned, he clenched his fists and dared not speak. Nine Tails, you are too powerful. You must be controlled. Senshu Bashirama grabbed Kyuubi's neck with one hand and said seriously. Kyuubi struggled with all his strength, but seemed very powerless. All fuck you. I'm so powerful, you. Using the sealing technique learned from Uzumaki village, Hashirama didn't listen to Kyuubi's words at all, and directly sealed it. Kyuubi in the seal. MD. I was sleeping well in the forest, and suddenly a guy with red eyes appeared, saying that I was strong, but he immediately controlled him. When I woke up, I was beaten by someone. Fortunately, he was beaten to death. I thought everything was fine, but then another guy who said I was strong, pressed my head to the ground, and the tailed beast Jade could be crushed. Is this the human being now? This is why I am strong. I ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** them all of a sudden, and he didn't even struggle in the sealed container. Looking at the tailed beast in the container, Hashirama smiled like an old farmer, and then took out the map. One tail was caught by Sand Hidden Village, and Naneo was caught by Long Hidden Village, so there are still 6 tailed beasts left. It seems that I need to make a trip. After the fight with Madara, I feel that my strength is declining. Cough. I must quickly establish a balance system of the 5 major ninja villages with Konoha as the mainstay, otherwise, I am afraid that my body will not be able to hold it. After clearing his mind, he grabbed the sealed container and returned to the village. Come back, the food is ready. Uzumaki Mito gently took the coat he took off, turned around and put it on the hanger, and went to the kitchen to take out the hot meal. While the two were eating, she looked curiously at the sealed Kyuubi with Kagura's mind. Hashirama. How do you feel that this sealed container is very fragile? It escaped after a little struggle. Hearing his wife's question, he rubbed his head in distress. Yeah. I'm worrying about this problem, but this is already the best one in the sealed container. Uzumaki Mito put down the bowls and chopsticks and thought for a while, then suddenly had an idea. I can seal it in my body. Anyway, the Uzumaki clan has a strong physique and the sealing technique can also restrain the tailed beast. Kyuubi, who was pretending to be dead, was completely panicked when he heard it. He originally wanted to run out while this silly-looking guy was going to catch other tailed beasts. Just relying on this stinky woman to catch me, let's dream. With Nine Tails' fierce resistance, the sealed container swayed greatly, and it seemed that it might be broken at any time. Be quiet. Uzumaki Mito slapped the table, and several chains composed of sealing techniques whizzed out behind him, reached into the sealing container and tied nine-tailed 5 flowers, and then began to wave the chains to train it. Qianshu Zujian. Don't dare to speak, because you are prone to violence. Kyuubi. I'm so stupid, really. I only know that man is powerful, he can push me to the ground and beat me, but I don't know that this woman is more cruel than him, so I just hang myself up in smoke. If I have a choice, I still want to be that fox who plays happily in the forest. If there is a time limit, I hope it will be 1 year. Ah, that running in the sunset is my lost youth. Seeing that the sealed container was no longer moving, Hashirama hurriedly stopped him and wanted to continue to teach Kyuubi's wife a lesson. HMPH, I'll let you go first. After finishing speaking, she took back all the chains, smoothed her somewhat messy hair with both hands, and transformed into that gentle image of a good wife and mother again. Honey, I'm going to take a long trip in a few days. After Hashirama was full, he put down the bowl and chopsticks, wiped his mouth, and then said to Uzumaki Mito. In such a hurry. Then how long will it take to go this time? She looked at Zujian with some reluctance, and was about to go out to work again just after returning. No, you must be knocked out before you go. After thinking about it, a smile appeared on his face again, and he stretched out the chain from behind to tie the unsuspecting Hashirama tightly, then got up and stretched, revealing a graceful figure. Hey, wife, what do you want to do? Let me down. What? What do you say? Zhu Jian's face turned pale, and he resigned himself to his fate and stopped struggling. So, the two walked into the bedroom together, but the ninja god was suspended. A few days later, Senshu Bashirama set off majestically, if one ignores his trembling legs and one hand on his waist. Husband. Come back soon. Uzumaki Mito bid farewell to him standing at the Konoha gate, with a radiant face, as if he was a year or two younger. Seeing the figure in Hashirama drifting away, she also turned around and prepared to go home, humming a tune in a great mood. Next, it's my dear little fox, my sister is coming. Kyuubi. Don't come here. At this time, Danzo, who was wandering on the street, also found Uzumaki Mito who was about to go home, and trotted forward. Mito-sama. Oh, it's Xiaotuanzang. It's growing so fast. It's only been a few months since I saw her so tall. Seeing that it was Danzo running over, she bent down and touched his head. Someone who didn't know how to be ashamed took advantage of his current age and asked Uzumaki Mito. Mito-sama, I heard that Hashirama-sama caught Kyuubi, is it true? She nodded with a smile. Then can I go and see? Of course. Seeing that Kagura showed malice in her eyes, she agreed to Danzo's request. Anyway, it's boring at home, so it's fun to have one more person. The two returned to the Thousand Hands station together. As soon as he entered the yard, Danzo felt a strong evil chakra struggling in the yard, but it seemed to be bound by something, making it difficult to move. Damn it, how did that woman come back so soon? Let's go. Let's take a look at the 9 tails inside. After that, she took Danzo's hand and entered the inner environment of the container together. With a flash in front of Danzo's eyes, he found himself in a huge sewer. Inside a dilapidated fence, there was a huge 9-tailed fox staring at them with wide-eyed eyes. You are not good. Uzumaki Mito said to Kyuubi who was trapped in the container with a gentle smile. Seeing the woman in front of him showing this smile again, Kyuubi was so frightened that even his hair exploded. I haven't run out yet. You should act softly, and don't slap your face. Then he lay down on the ground resignedly, covering his big face with his two front paws. Mito-sama, it seems to be very afraid of you. Danzo was a little curious when he saw its shivering appearance. It is the strongest among the 9 big-tailed beasts, how could it become like this? Looking at Uzumaki Mito with a friendly smile beside him, he was very puzzled. Oh, it's probably because the climate is not acclimatized. A ghost who is not acclimatized, how about lying to a child? Hearing such an answer, Danzo cursed and observed the sealing technique above the fence. Seeing the sealing technique that Danzo had observed for a long time, she asked. Are you interested in sealing technique? I'm really interested. Turning his head to look at her, he rubbed his nose in embarrassment. Uzumaki Mito smiled. It seems that you are a drunkard who doesn't care about drinking. After a slight pause, if you really like it, I can write a letter asking you to go to Wuyin village to learn the sealing technique. Danzo was overjoyed when he heard the words, and quickly said to her, Thank you Mito-sama, I won't trouble you, will I? No, no, Uzumaki Mito waved his hand. In fact, she also has some selfishness. When she is still alive, the Uzumaki clan can certainly maintain a good relationship with Konoha, but what about after that? You must know that the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan is quite powerful, especially when she found out that the sealing technique has such a strong restraint effect on the tailed beasts when training the 9 tails these days. She knew that the Uzumaki clan would be in trouble in the future. After all, everyone is innocent and guilty, and the power of Wuyin village can't protect itself at all, so they can only form more good relationships for the future. And Shimura Danzo is his brother-in-law, a disciple of Senshu Feijian, and his talent has also been heard by Hashirama as the #1 genius in the village. So, if you invest in Danzo, you can make a steady profit without losing money, okay? Thinking of this, the smile on her face became more gentle, and 9 Tails, who had just recovered from her shock, fell back on her knees in fright. The wind passed quickly by Danzo's ear, making a hoo-hoo sound. Touching her chin slightly, she thought of it. By the way, I haven't drawn a lottery in the sky yet. Why don't I try this time? Although the tone is questionable, the action is not slow at all. Looking at the points on the book, I felt overwhelmed. If the old ones don't go, the new ones won't come. Give me 100 consecutive draws. After points were consumed, flashing cards of various colors were opened by Danzo one by one. I didn't bother to pay attention to those white and green items, and threw them into the system space in one go. Then he counted the cards with blue and purple lights, a total of 15 cards, and none of them were golden. No, system, why is the probability of this lottery drawing different from the one drawn in reality? Have you never played games before? And look at the line in the lower right corner of the panel. Opened the lottery page of the system panel again, looked carefully at the lower right corner, and finally found a line of small characters that were almost invisible, which read, "The probability is for reference only and has no actual value." Danzing immediately scolded angrily. You motherfucker really learned the essence of ponies. Most of the people who braved the blue light were 0.1 calories chakra and combat experience, so it can only be said that they have absorbed them all. Only 3 blues and 2 purples are left. Finger gun, blue, from the world of pirates, one of the 6 naval styles, it can exert power not weaker than guns with fingers. Shen Feng Wu Ying, blue, from the world of Harry Potter, created by Snape, has a good lethality, and the wound is difficult to heal. Long Yuan, blue, it comes from the world of Fengyun, which can stimulate potential, but it contains animal nature, and it is extremely dangerous for humans to take it. It is not recommended to take it. Item upgrade charm, purple, any blue item can be upgraded to a purple item. Overlord colored domineering, purple, from the world of pirates, the aptitude of a unique king can shock people to the point of fainting. How should I put it? So, I feel that the ones that can make my eyes shine are the upgrade symbols. Which item should I upgrade? Wooden knife. It shouldn't be necessary, it's enough for now. Hulk panties. Duck doesn't have to. Correct. Shadow mask. Danzo immediately materialized the black shadow mask and started upgrading. With a burst of purple light flashing, the originally evil mask was now darker and its texture improved a lot. Shadow mask. Purple, original blue item, World of Jackie Chan Adventures. Existing ability. Can summon 9 shadow core. Every 10 shadow ninjas can be fused to form a black shadow ninja. The number of people that can be summoned, 100. Dio, didn't expect the purple-black shadow mask to be so strong, so now I can summon 10 Chunin-level thugs at will. There are also 9 Black Shadow regiments, namely the Ninja Regiment, the Thornblade Regiment, the Night Bat Regiment, the Troll Regiment, the Samurai Regiment, the Alien Regiment, the Shadow Eater Regiment, the Hunting Pincer Regiment and the Mantis Regiment. It can be said to be a panacea for any situation. After merging skills such as Overlord Color and Domineering, he took out the Dragon Yuan and threw it into Toothless Boy's mouth. Even in adulthood, the current Toothless Boy has at most a special ninja ability, which is considered to be a rare ability to fly in the ninja world, but it is different with Long Yuan, a proper high-level combat power, and there is no need to worry about animal nature. Toothless hadn't even tasted anything yet. Long Yuan automatically fused into its body with energy, its body strength was continuously strengthened, its eyes narrowed, showing an expression of enjoyment, and kept humming comfortably. Then they rushed to the street. Toothless Boy suddenly retracted his wings, one person and one dragon fell from the sky, but one had a helpless expression, and the other had an expression of enjoyment. Damn it, careless. Fortunately, there was an upgrade of the Black Shadow Mask, otherwise this time it would be really troublesome. With a silent recitation in my heart, the tattoo on my arm was slightly hot, and several Night Bat ninjas appeared, grabbed Danzo and Toothless, and landed slowly. Hey. Danzo went to see it first after landing, and found that it couldn't wake up no matter what, so he could only sigh and practice swordsmanship aside. After about half an hour, Toothless Boy slowly woke up. Finally woke up. Seeing that his little dragon was finally all right, he smiled reassuringly. Just as he was about to go forward, he was thrown down by the excited Toothless Boy, who licked Danzo frantically with his big tongue, and the whole dragon looked extremely happy. While scratching Toothless Boy's chin, he checked its body. Don't move, let me see your changes. The black scales on the body look more textured, isn't it hard? Danzo took out kunai from the ninja bag and tapped it, making the sound of metal clashing, thinking with satisfaction. It should have the hardness of fine steel, now you don't have to worry too much about the damage caused by Functon ninjutsu. So he turned his head and packed up his things, picked up his backpack and said to it. Toothless is ready to go. Let's see how your speed is. Swish. Feeling the several times faster speed, the wind has also become oppressive. At this time, it has the demeanor of an adult night fury, and has truly become a black lightning. You must know that it is still a child, which means that there is still room for improvement. As the scenery under their feet passed quickly, they were getting closer and closer to Wuyan village. To say whether Danzo has the talent of sealing technique is definitely there. Otherwise, who made the tongue root seal of disaster in the 4-element seal at the root in the future? As for Danzo's severe persecution paranoia, he would not be reconciled if he didn't take everything into his own hands. The sealing technique happens to be the most talent-based, and it's useless to learn it without talent. After the huge Konoha accepted the property of the Uzumaki clan, he cobbled together a sealing class. So, people cannot be generalized. This uncle is an absolute genius, Gia. Sitting on the dragon's back, Danzo thought cheerfully. His saliva was about to flow down. He wiped it off after recovering, and returned to his cold genius appearance again. Heavens and Worlds Mission System Host. Danzo Shimura. Chakra. Wind, 2.5 calories. Strength, Chunin points, 119000. Bloodline. One Piece World Family D Inheritance. Wind Swordsman Yasuo, proficient. Skills. 1 Sword Style Tiger Hunting, Elite. 1 Sword Style Swallow Return, proficient. 3 Body Technique, proficient. Wind Escape Great Breakthrough, proficient. Wind Escape Wind Cut, beginner. Vacuum Series, proficient. Shen Feng Wying, beginner. 3 Color Domineering, proficient. Dark Walking Art, beginner. Items. Indestructible Wooden Knife, some fine steel kumai, some military food pills, some detonating charms, Black Shadow Mask, Healing Potion, Zhuge Liang's Lupine. Task. Arrive at the place of the Uzumaki clan and learn the sealing technique. Reward. 10,000 points, unfinished. Let the Whirlpool Patriarch sincerely say, your boy is really a fucking genius. Reward. 5,000 points, unfinished. It's finally here, Uzumaki clan. In the distance, Vortex Village is already faintly visible. Patriarch, Danzo Shimura is here. Oh? So fast? Uzumaki Ashina asked in surprise. Although the distance between Konoha and Uzumaki village is not too far, it is relatively speaking. According to the speed of a Chunin, it should arrive after tomorrow. Yes, because he has a flying psychic beast, which is super handsome and cute. When the Whirlpool Lugan who came over to report this, his eyes started to shoot stars, he was like a fangirl. Shouldn't the point be how fast? Cough. The young people nowadays still need the old man to do it himself. He cleared his throat, stroked his long white beard helplessly, picked up a crutch as tall as a person, and went out the door. When Whirlpool Ashina left the door, she just woke up like a dream, hurriedly followed, and kept shouting, "Hey, Patriarch, wait for me." Before he reached the entrance of the village, he saw a large group of people gathered there, as if they were watching something, so he also came forward to watch curiously. Wow, so cute, so handsome. Uzumaki Ashina saw what the crowd was watching, and was immediately conquered. The current toothless boy is even more handsome than before, with a big head. At this time, the future emperor of the dragon is being fed by the Uzumaki villagers throwing fish. Every movement it makes will attract their favorite praise. Oh, look at how cute it is simply the creation of the sages of the six paths. My heart is almost melting. How can there be such a cute creature in this world? Seeing that everyone in Guoyan village ignored him standing next to toothless boy, he planned to make a noise to attract everyone's attention. Cough cough. Still no one cares. Cough, cough. The crowd discovered Danzo, and they couldn't help frowning. Young man, go home if you have a bad voice. Why is your hair black? You are not from my Uzumaki clan. Everyone looked at him vigilantly, and protected toothless boy behind him, and it poked out a big head to look at Danzo curiously. Danzo saw that even the patriarch Uzumaki Ashina looked at him like this, and a few black lines appeared on his forehead. He resisted the desire to complain, and took out the letter of introduction from his arms and handed it to him. Mito-sama is unreliable, he clearly said that he would notify the clan, but now he didn't say anything at all. Uzumaki Ashina looked at the letter of introduction carefully, as if thinking of something, picked up the crutch again, and said without changing expression. Ha ha ha, it's Shimura Danzo. I'm getting old and my memory is failing. Come to the village. Danzo smiled awkwardly and politely, and followed the crowd into the village. No, it should be said that the crowd surrounded Toothless into the village. When they arrived at the home of the Whirlpool Patriarch, the villagers reluctantly bid farewell. Speaking of which, you should be the second person with a foreign surname to learn the sealing technique of our Uzumaki clan. He took out the scroll that seemed to be frequently read from the bookshelf in the study room, blew it with his mouth, and cleaned off the thin layer of dust on it, and after thinking about it, he also took off a scroll on the top floor. The first person to learn is Senju Bashirama, who was also recommended by the kid Mito. Now they have done a great job. Uzumaki Ashina's eyes showed a bit of nostalgia, then smiled, and handed him 2 scrolls in turn. The first scroll contains some sealing techniques that can be learned without vortex blood, and the second scroll contains the old man's perception and daily records of sealing techniques when he was young, which may be helpful to you. The second scroll is because you have such a good psychic beast. Danzo took the 2 scrolls full of time with both hands, and carefully put them away. Seeing that he put away this kindness, Uzumaki Ashina took out a pot of sake from the drawer and asked someone to cook a few dishes. You don't mind talking to me, an old man. Although Danzo didn't know what he was going to do, as long as he was careful, it would be wrong to say more. As the sky darkened, the 2 of them swept away all the dishes on the table. After shaking the wine jug that had already been drunk, he said drunkenly, "Ah, it's gone so soon." Already in the room specially cleaned up for him, Danzo recalled it to make sure he didn't say anything that shouldn't be said, so he forgot about this little episode, lit the lamp, and prepared to learn the sealing technique. What was written on the second scroll? He opened it with deep curiosity. Today is the first day of learning the sealing technique. Writing this diary is also to urge myself to study hard and become the #1 expert of the Uzumaki clan as soon as possible. First of all, I must learn this basic seal. On the second day of learning the sealing technique, drink and play cards. On the third day, drink and play cards. On the fourth day, drink and play cards. On the fifth day, Uzumaki Ashina. How can you be so depraved? Have you forgotten the study plan you made earlier? I have to examine myself 3 times a day, and I can't go on like this. On the 6th day, drink and play cards. On the 7th day, drink and play cards. At this time, the whirlpool was in Lu Ming's house. This Shimura Danzo is a good young ninja, but he needs to be polished, and his moral character is fine. Heck, how come there is no such genius in my Uzumaki clan? I also lent out my public diary this time. Then I should be regarded as half of his teacher? He talked to himself in the room, walked to the study, and prepared to take out his personal diary to write. He touched the bookshelf with his hand, found it and threw it on the table, and was about to start writing after spreading it out. No, I took the wrong one just now. He probably hasn't read it yet. He definitely hasn't. If he reads it, where will I put my elder's face? Seeing that the diary was full of his learning and insights written for the sake of appearing in front of others, rather than his daily records, he immediately put down his pen and ran to Danzo's residence at the speed that a movie-level powerhouse should have. He pushed open the door at once, and saw that Danzo was not reading the second scroll, but was getting ready to sleep. He was relieved, but he still asked worriedly. Well, Danzo, you haven't read this scroll, have you? Uzumaki Ashina picked up the second scroll and said to him. Danzo rubbed his sleepy eyes, yawned, and casually said to him, No, Senior Ashina, I'm going to sleep as soon as I arrive. What's the matter? He immediately felt relieved after hearing this, and changed the scroll with a haha. It's okay. I just want to see if you have anything missing here. It seems to be okay now, so I won't disturb your rest. Taking the scroll back into his hand, he closed the door and went home after a few perfunctory words. But he didn't notice Danzo, who couldn't suppress his laughter as soon as he left. Ha 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 ha. Uzumaki Ashina, who heard the laughter, pushed open the door again, only to see Danzo with an innocent face. Master Ashina, do you have anything else to do? Oh, it's all right. Scratching his head, he went out again, only to hear laughter again. Suddenly suspicious, turned back again, but saw Danzo with the same puzzled expression. Didn't you hear a burst of laughter? No, and I have been strictly trained by Konoha, so I will never laugh out loud. After finishing speaking, I added a sentence in my heart, unless I can't help it. Uzumaki Ashina had no choice but to go home. Am I really old? I'll have hallucinations. Danzo, who was in the room at this time, smiled triumphantly. It would be great if you were a member of the Uzumaki tribe. Uzumaki Ashina stared at the boy in front of him in a daze. It only took a few months to learn all the general sealing techniques, and he was still able to perform them proficiently. He completed his journey of several years in less than half a year. Such a self was called a sealing genius back then, so what is he? Monster. It's just a pity that he is not a member of the Uzumaki tribe. Otherwise he would definitely be able to bring the sealing technique to a new glory. Ha ha ha, Uncle Ashina was joking. I just have a little bit of talent. You can be so relaxed without my uncle. Hey, Tui, shameless. With the help of billions of points from the system, the entry problems that most trouble beginners are the easiest. After getting started, of course it is to gain experience. As long as the liver is not dead, it will be dead, not to mention the cheating artifacts such as the shadow clone, so the original time has been continuously shortened to a few months. In the past few months, Danzo is the residence, the patriarch's house, and the training ground at 3 points in one line. He played the spirit of the previous liver game and abruptly reached the proficiency level. But Toothless has had enough of being a village pet in the past few months, and he has gained a lot of weight. This is the result of Danzing taking Toothless to the training ground every day to exercise, otherwise he will really become a pig. Since you're all ready to go back, I won't stop you. I wish you a smooth journey and bring a letter to Mito for me. Uzumaki Ashina took out a letter from the bookshelf and handed it to Danzo, and suddenly felt something was wrong. Who? He was keenly aware that there were people outside the door, and there were more than one. Bang. The gate suddenly collapsed, and a dozen people fell in all at once. Before they had time to pat off the dust on their bodies, they immediately surrounded Danzo. Danzo, are you leaving so soon? Can you stay a few more days? Yes, we can't bear you. It's because I don't want to part with Toothless. If I stay for a few more days, I doubt its wings will become decorations. No matter how much I complained in my heart, I still rejected these bad-hearted people one by one with a smile on my face. In the afternoon. Spiritualism. After Toothless appeared, he raised his head, causing the crowd to cheer. Everyone, the mountains are high and the waters are long. See you by fate. Ow. After Danzing and Toothless Boy told everyone their separation, they flew into the sky together. Under the blue sky, one person and one dragon disappeared on the horizon. Toothless Boy, you really have to lose weight after you go back, and the speed has slowed down a lot. Looking at the slightly protruding belly, it took a sharp breath and found that it was useless, so it could only nod helplessly, agreeing. Next, let's go to the capital of the country of fire. The sky is getting darker, the last sliver of setting sun disappears into the sky, and the surroundings become black and misty. It seems that we are going to spend the night in the wild this time. If we set off tomorrow morning, we should arrive at noon. Danzo looked at the place where there was no village in front and no shop in the back. He touched Toothless Boy's head and landed in an open space. After glancing around to ensure the safety of the surroundings, the shadow clones scattered to look for dead branches. A few minutes later, orange flames rose, dispelling the autumn wind and bringing some warmth. Danzo took out the fish that the Uzumaki villagers had given to Toothless from the package. After a little processing, he sprinkled seasoning on it and grilled it on the bonfire. Throw the 2 grilled fish to Toothless, and he swallows them all at once. At most 2 for you, let's see how fat you are. It looked at Danzo pitifully, circled around him, and rubbed its head in his arms. Okay, I'll give you 3 at most, it's useless to act like a baby. Toothless immediately licked him happily with his big tongue. Soon, the 3rd fish will be grilled. Suddenly, Toothless Boy turned his head to the other side, making low growls. It seems that there are uninvited guests. When handing the grilled fish to Toothless Boy, a kunai flew towards them with a detonating talisman. Bang! Although it didn't cause the slightest harm to them, the fish that was grilled just now was considered useless. Seeing that the grilled fish that belonged to him was gone, Toothless Boy suddenly became angry, disappeared in the same place in an instant, and went straight to chase in the direction where Kunai came. I really didn't expect that someone who didn't know how to live or die would come here to start a fire. It seems that our reputation is not big enough. A young man who spoke licked his lips, showing a bloodthirsty smile, looking terrifying in the darkness. Another man with a bow and arrow on his back smiled. It's a good thing someone comes, otherwise let's drink the northwest wind. As our reputation has grown, the villages here have run out of oil and water, and those businessmen have learned to be smart, and the business in this area has shrunk a lot. A man who seemed to be the leader shook his head with some boredom, and pulled out a big knife. I hope I will chop a few more people later, otherwise this anger will not stop. I would like to have a few women. The village I just slaughtered a few days ago has a few special water spirits, but they are too hot-tempered to have fun. Ha 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 ha, sooner or later, you kid will die on a woman's belly. Dozens of people immediately made fun of the person who spoke before. Wait, something's wrong. When the leader approached Danzo and the others, he couldn't help but panic, which made him be careful. It was because of this intuition that he escaped the shadow of death several times, so he believed in the feeling very much. Mr. Pingshan, go and have a look, and use the detonating talisman directly after a while. The man called Hirayama was one of the few renunciants among the crowd. He silently took the kunai with the detonating talisman and rushed towards the fire. The rest of you should hurry up too. I doubt that Pingshan can handle it alone. Bang! The sound of the explosion lifted their spirits, and they quickly accelerated their speed, like hyenas robbing food. Before they ran to the location of the explosion, they saw an extremely fast shadow grab Hirayama who threw kunai just now. Everyone, prepare to fight. The leader circulated chakra all over his body and looked forward vigilantly. Wind bandits. With a reward of 50 taels, they roam around the border of the land of fire, often robbing passing caravans and imposing village taxes. A faint voice came from behind them, and they turned their heads quickly, but they didn't hear any footsteps, and no one noticed how he appeared. Seeing that he was a young man, the bandit leader felt relieved a little bit. He was just a brat. According to the common sense, he would be the best in the world. Yes, that's me. For those who lick blood on the knife, the higher the bounty, the more face they have, because it also represents their status, and it is even very difficult for the amount to be higher. Seeing the forehead guard on Danzo's head and not knowing his specific strength, he decided to play it safe and let him go. Boy, logically speaking, you should die tonight, but for Konoha's sake, leave everything on your body and let you go. The younger brother next to him wanted to speak immediately when he heard the words, but he stopped him with a wave of his hand. If he didn't agree, Then he must be stronger than us, but for the sake of letting him go, I shouldn't have to die. If he agreed, it means that our strength can defeat him, so don't blame me. I don't think so. Damn it, don't eat the toast and eat the fine wine, come on. He stepped back and gave orders. Several sharp arrows came out of the string, the sound pierced the silent night sky, and shot towards Danzo, who stood motionless. A group of jumping clowns, no matter how loud they are clowns after all, and they are afraid of dirty hands if they kill you. With a wave of his hand, 10 black shadow ninjas with Chunin strength are summoned, and all attacks are blocked with a wave of the samurai sword. What? It's the shadow mercenary group. Run! Unexpectedly, when they saw the appearance of the black shadow ninja, they were frightened and ran away. Fear quickly eroded the entire Gale bandit group, except for a few people, everyone fled to the dense forest. The 8 black shadow ninjas directly chased the fleeing robbers, harvesting their sinful lives one by one like the god of death. The people standing in place are not courageous, but clearly understand that they cannot run away. It seems that the guy in Furukawa used the shadow core well. Danzo curiously asked a person standing there, "Why don't you run?" He looked at Danzo with a dead face. The success rate of the mission of the Black Shadow Mercenary Group in the gold exchange is 100%, and the people they want to kill cannot escape. I didn't expect that we could meet the holy master of the Black Shadow Mercenary Group. It's worth it. Feeling bored, he clapped his hands, and the remaining 2 Black Shadow ninjas accepted, stepped forward, drew their swords and slashed down. In an instant, everyone except Danzo was killed. Easier than killing a chicken. At this time, Toothless Boy also came back with that hapless guy in his hands. Seeing his listless look, he knew how much he had suffered. It threw him into the sky, and after a burst of dragon flames passed, that guy turned into ashes and returned to nature. Asking the Black Shadow Ninja to drag the corpses back to the gold exchange to receive the bounty, Shimura Danzo frightened the surrounding bugs with his domineering look, and then returned to the campfire and fell asleep.